Now, this is case number 241 on the calendar in the matter of Taylor versus Hickman. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Miss Taylor, according to what I read in your complaint, you and the defendant were friends. There came a time, you're going to tell me about that time, when you lost your driver's license and you needed a car, you needed transportation. So you made an arrangement with Miss Hickman that you would purchase a car. The car would be titled in Miss Hickman's name. You would also pay for the insurance, with the understanding that she would take you to do your chores, take your children wherever they had to go. It is your complaint that subsequently you had a falling out and she stole your car. Ms. Hickman says nothing could be farther from the truth. It was her car. It was always her car. And when you came to pick up the car because of something that had to do with a boyfriend, you were so angry that you couldn't get the car that you smashed all of the windows in the car, and she has a counterclaim. When was this car purchased?
It was purchased on July 27th, 2005.
And what was the purchase price?
$4,000.
Where did you buy it?
We looked in the penny saver, and it was bought through somebody at a house, and then it was bought under A.M.N. Auto.
Who went to look at the car?
Me and Nicole Hickman.
Why did you lose your driver's license?
For DUI.
How many DUIs?
I've been convicted of one. I was arrested for one previous, but I wasn't convicted.
Do you have your license reinstated at this point?
It'll be reinstated the day I get back to Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm eligible.
Who put down the down payment on the car?
I paid for the car in full, in cash.
Do you have any proof of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You looked for a car together?
Right.
Why?
Okay, I had a 98 Contour that she had gave me a couple years back when she had lost her driver's license for the DUI.
Just a minute. When you say she gave it to you as a gift?
Yes.
That's untrue, Your Honor.
Well, this would be helpful to you. It shows what a nice person you are.
The car was wrecked, and it wasn't in the best condition. However, I made an agreement with her that she paid for it to get out of impound, because I already purchased another car before this. I purchased an '89 Buick, and I did give her the title because she is my friend.
Okay. So you gave her the car?
For $250, and she was supposed to pay me $250 more.
Okay, but she didn't.
Over favors and stuff, we wrote that off.
Okay, go.
Okay, so the transmission on the car went out. Now, previous to her having the baby, Michaela, I had drove her around to doctor's appointments, wherever she needed to go, basically, which I had for years. I was going to get the transmission on the Contour fixed. We started looking at cars because I was going to go ahead and put... Okay. I was going to go ahead and put the money that I had for the transmission on my car, which was $1,500 at the time, towards a new vehicle, which she was like, you know, why don't you just get something new? We were going to get a place together. She was my girlfriend. She wasn't my friend.
That's untrue, Your Honor.
Shh. Go.
Okay, we looked in the penny saver. I found a Malibu. I had wanted a Malibu for a while since my friend here had purchased one. I liked them. I test drove the car. I only had $2,000 at the time for the car. Shelly told me that she would go ahead and give me the rest of the money. She had just received a $30,000 settlement from a previous lawsuit that she had against an insurance company, and said that she would pay the remainder that I didn't have for the car. We were going to move in together. It would be my car, but it would get her around as well, and her kids. It was going to be like the family car. And that's what happened.
Show me proof that you paid $2,000 towards the car.
I don't have a proof that I gave her anything because I gave it to her in cash, but all I have is like my pawn slip where I pawned my necklace to get the Contour fixed, and I have forms of unemployment that I had. I know, it's not proof that I gave her any money.
It isn't.
You're right.
All right, so we have proof and we have no proof.
I paid for the car in cash.
You don't have any proof.
I have a bill of sale.
No, the bill of sale said that you purchased the car.
Yeah.
So that you could register it. I understand. Okay. Who's Shelley Taylor? Who's Linda Taylor?
That's my mother.
So your mother gave you a $4,000 check.
Yes, ma'am.
So this check is not made out to the person who sold the car.
No, ma'am. They wanted cash.
Can I say something to that?
Got it. I got it. Now I got it.
Okay.
So you have this much proof. She has no proof. Good. Now, so what happened?
I got the car registered. She paid for my insurance. We went to a lady that she knew.
Okay, she paid the insurance.
That's right.
How much was the insurance?
Ma'am, it was $668.
So far you paid $2,668 according to you.
That's right.
Not according to her, but according to you.
That's right.
She paid for more than half of the amount necessary to get this car on the road, despite the fact that the car was titled in your name.
Right, but it wasn't a...
Shh. Just the facts, ma'am.
Okay.
So far, she paid for more than half to get this car on the road.
Okay.
Despite the fact that it's titled in your name, because she can't have a car titled in her name because she has no driver's
In the state
license
of
and
Florida,
she
you
can't get
can.
insurance. I'm speaking.
Sorry.
In what month did you two have a falling out?
On August 10th, according to her paperwork, which I'm not sure the exact date, I have a police report, she left her son with me on the 9th. I guess from what I found out, her ex-boyfriend that she had just had a baby with was getting out of jail, which I did not know because I was under the understanding that
Don't
me
tell
and
me
her
what
were
your
together.
understanding was.
Okay. So the old man gets out of jail. She leaves all night long with the car. I call her the next day. I have her son. Okay, I call her to get the car.
Did you take the car that day?
That's untrue, Your Honor.
Where was the car?
It was parked at my parents' house.
Just a second. You didn't use the car? Boyfriend
ma'am.
didn't use the car?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Next.
So the next day, she comes to my house and gets her son in the car. I tell her that I need the car. She says no, that she is not giving me the car back. She took it
Who
to...
was driving?
She was driving.
No license.
That's right.
Got it. Go.
So she took the car and went to her mom. She took off before I even came down the stairs to even know what was going on. She grabbed her son, half of his things, left his shoes, everything, took the car, went to her mom's house. I called her. She said that her boyfriend was out, Ryan, they were getting back together, and she said that I wasn't getting the car back. So I went over there and with the police, well, not with the police at first, I just went to get the car. She came out with a hammer, started beating the car with a hammer. Her neighbors called the police. The cops came. They had made me tow the car because she took my registration.
Let me see the police report.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why did you smash the car?
I was just so frustrated, Your Honor. I lost my temper.
Ever been involved with the police for losing your temper?
Yes.
And later today,
This boy's been a guest in our home. I didn't expect him to lie to me.
Nobody lied to you, madam.
He did. He did not tell me that this
Just a
vehicle had a
second.
salvage title.
Nobody lied to you.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Shelley Taylor says former friend Nicole Hickman owes for the return of a 1999 Chevy Malibu. Nicole is countersuing, claiming Shelley vandalized the vehicle.
You think the police tell the truth?
Yes.
You think that they are trained to do adequate reporting so that all the facts are contained in a police report?
No.
Well, they are. And according to the police, Ms. Hickman, you advised the police that the two of you bought the car together, you giving $1,500 towards the car, and the plaintiff giving $2,500 towards the car.
Mm-hmm.
Shh. I didn't ask a question yet. So you told me a moment ago that you put in $2,000.
I did.
Well, were you telling me the truth or were you telling the police the truth?
I'm not sure if the police was going by her information
No,
or
the
mine.
police said, listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me. N. Hickman, that would be you.
That's right.
Advised, that means said, told, conveyed, indicated. That means they were speaking to you. That the two bought the vehicle together. N. Hickman, that would be you, giving $1,500, and S. Taylor giving $2,500. So I'm going to get back to my question. Were you telling me the truth when you said that you gave $2,000 towards the car, or were you telling the police the truth?
I was telling you the police. I paid two.
You were telling you the police?
No,
What
I was
is that?
telling you the right. I paid $2,000 for
So
the
you
car,
were telling
ma'am.
me the truth
That's
and
right.
you lied to the police?
I guess if that's what it says.
Yeah, that's what it says. Your proof is getting better.
Thank you.
Because according to the police, the purchase date was the 28th of July, and your check from your mother to you was the 27th of July for $4,000. And one of the things you both agree on was that the purchase price of the car was $4,000.
That's right.
And you have no proof that you gave her either $1,500 or $2,000.
No,
Is
I don't.
that right?
That's right.
Good. It's getting better. Okay. Now, let's come back to you. Naughty, naughty. One should not have lost their temper. Why did you smash the car?
It was out of frustration because I've been friends with Nicole Hickman for over 6 years, and she put the trust in me that I could trust her, that we could do this together so I could have reliable transportation, and she completely broke my trust. She brought the police to my house and said I stole her vehicle. I was just so frustrated, Your Honor. I lost my temper.
Don't lose your temper. Have you ever lost your temper before?
Yes, ma'am.
Ever been involved with the police for losing your temper?
With my DUI.
So it was a DUI and you got into an altercation with the police?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
I have 2 children, Your Honor.
How old are you?
I'm 24 years old,
How old are your children?
3 years old, and 2 months old.
And what was the father of this baby doing in jail?
Possession of crack cocaine, driving without a license. It was his first time seeing his newborn child. We are not together. He's incarcerated again, so I don't have to deal with him.
Miss Taylor, you're 24 years old, and so far what you've indicated to me is you're a 24-year-old with very lousy judgment.
Yes, Your Honor.
And until you grow up, I suggest you not have any more children.
I'm not.
Concentrate on the 2 that you have. And don't bring any bums into their life. You know, if you're going to be a bum magnet, that's your problem. But if you have children, you have to treat the children a little more carefully. You got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. Okay. Where's the car now?
It's in my possession. I have the title for it, everything. It's my car.
Oh, good. Give it to me.
I also have information here that shows how many people she sued. I mean, this is something that she does.
Listen to me. I don't care how many people she sued, madam.
Okay.
I find that you have absolutely no stake in this car. You paid absolutely nothing towards this car. This is a copy of the title.
That's right.
Did you figure out how much it's going to cost to get the car fixed?
The estimate is $1,729.
Listen to me. Court will enter an order that the Department of Motor Vehicles is to transfer title to the car in your name. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a copy, so I can't have her sign it.
Okay.
And I'm entering a judgment on your behalf in the amount of the car if she does not turn the car over to you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the damage to the car that you caused was $1,700.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to have to eat that.
She had got a check from her insurance company already to fix the car.
Let me see.
Now, she knows the lady that works at this insurance company.
I pulled that off the internet. I had the policy number.
I don't care. Did you get a check?
Did I get a check?
From the
I haven't
insurance company.
received the check.
Payment was $1,229.
Wait, I got a stub that says that I am allowed to take the vehicle and get it fixed.
Oh, fine. Turn that over to her. Good.
No,
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
I'm not giving the car back.
I'm not getting my car back?
Yes, you're getting it
She
back.
just said that, Your Honor.
Oh, yes, you are.
Thank you.
She just said that she was going back to her baby's father, and that was next thing I know, I'm getting sued.
She was supposed to be my friend, and we had a verbal agreement.
She was just chasing me with the hammer, and then she turned around and started hitting my car with the hammer.
She's going to write a fiction book one day, and that's going to be her career, because all she does is lie.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Johnson versus Venable. Step forward, please.
18-year-old Lawrence Johnson is suing the mother of his former friend, Tina Venable, for the balance on a Toyota 4Runner. Tina says Lawrence sold her a salvaged vehicle.
All right, Mr. Johnson, this is your complaint.
Yes, ma'am.
You sold Mrs. Venable a 4Runner truck that you had used throughout high school to get to and from school, and you sold her that for her son,
Yeah.
who you knew throughout high school.
Yeah, for a couple of years I did.
How much did you sell her the truck for?
$2,500.
And Miss Venable doesn't deny that. Is that right?
That's correct.
But then you didn't listen to your parents, because your parents said to you, when you sell a car, you get paid.
Unfortunately, yes, ma'am.
And what you did was you agreed to accept payments on this truck.
Yes, ma'am.
A down payment of how much, Miss Venable?
I only had $200 cash that night when he came to the house.
So you gave him the $200 in cash and agreed to make payments in what amount?
$300 for the month of June, $400 July, and the balance in August.
Step up, please. Tell me your first name.
Trevor?
Trevor, had you seen Mr. Johnson driving this 4Runner in school?
Yes, I have.
Had you ever been in the 4Runner?
Yes.
What day did you take possession of the truck?
May 15th. We actually rode in it together that day.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Did you drive it to your house?
I drove him home, actually.
But the truck was driven to your house so that your mother had the opportunity to see it.
Of course, yes.
Did she look at it?
Yes, she looked at it through the window.
Nobody prevented her from coming down and driving in it.
No, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Venable?
I work for an automotive dealership.
What do you do for the automotive dealership?
I'm in sales.
So you know, if you're in sales, if you want to buy a used car, you take a ride in it.
Correct.
You didn't.
No, I had reasonable expectation, him being an acquaintance of the family, that it would be as he said.
Really?
I did.
Well, it was as he said, madam. He drove the car in school for 2 years. Not something he purchased and then pawned off on your son, because your complaint is that your son had an accident in the car and totaled it. When?
June 13th.
So between May 15th and June 13th, who had possession of the car?
I did.
Who drove the car?
I did.
Tell me about the accident.
I was going camping in the mountains, and I was coming to a corner, and I slowed down, and the wheels locked up, and I slid off the side of the road and rolled.
So you didn't pay him the rest of the car. You say that the car had been damaged.
It was the first opportunity that he had to drive the car other than at city speeds, to school and back. It was the first time it had been on a curvy mountain road.
With off-road tires.
Just a second. Why do you think that you don't have to pay him the balance of this car?
Because he knew that this vehicle was damaged. He knew it was a junk title, should have never been rebuilt, and he sold it to me and didn't tell me, didn't disclose that.
Just 1 second. He drove the car for 2 years. Your son drove it for 30 days.
This boy's been a guest in our home. I didn't expect him to lie to me.
Nobody lied to you, madam.
He did. He did not tell me that this
Just
vehicle
a second.
had a salvage title.
Nobody lied to you. Did you ask him?
I did.
When you leaned out the window, what did you say to him?
I looked out the window. He didn't show up until almost midnight.
He came with your son.
I'm just saying, it was almost
Miss
midnight. I was not
Venable, start
prepared.
taking responsibility for your own behavior. If
Sir.
you wanted to have the car inspected by somebody who was unbiased, take it to your own shop where you work. Say, listen, take a look at this car. And aside from that, if what you're complaining about was that the car was rebuilt, was it rebuilt by you?
No, ma'am.
Was it rebuilt by somebody else?
I believe so now, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you drove it
Yes, ma'am.
with no trouble.
Yes, and
For 2 years.
I actually had it inspected twice before I started driving the car, and I had repairs done to it before I started driving it, and I had no troubles.
Maybe your son wasn't giving you the honest scoop about slowing down at the end of the road. If you wanted to find out that this truck had been rebuilt, which I assume it says on the title, is that right? I'm asking you a question. Does it say that on the title?
The title was clean. It wasn't until I ran a Carfax that I have a copy of here that shows that the vehicle was salvaged and that it was a
Good.
junk
Now,
title.
let me ask you a question. When did you do that?
After the police and the record driver told me that the vehicle there was another reason for the wreck.
Listen to me. Could you have done that before you bought it?
I suppose I could have, but
You're absolutely right. That's what you
he's
should.
a friend.
Listen to me. That's what you should have done before you bought it. You chose not to do that, and I am choosing not to say that this young man, knowing that there was a potentially dangerous situation with this car, sold it to you. Because when you buy a used car, it's your responsibility to see to it that it is appropriately inspected and not complain later, especially 30 days later when your son goes on a camping trip and totals the car. How much does she owe you on the car?
$2,300, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,300. That's all.
Now, this is case number 275 on the calendar in the matter of Glenn versus Chavez. Parties have been
Thank
sworn
you.
in. You're welcome. You may be seated.
Is this your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you ask the young man to wait outside until we're ready for him?
Sure.
If ever.
Come on. This way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Mr. Glenn, according to your complaint, you rented a room from Mrs. Chavez with your son.
Yes, ma'am.
And you claim that she unlawfully locked you out of the apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
You suffered damages as a result of this unlawful eviction. You want returned your rent, a deposit, your moving expenses, and punitive damages.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Chavez says that she never locked you out of the apartment. You left, and she is counterclaiming for a variety of things: stolen property, damage to the apartment, and sexual battery, that she will explain to me. When did you rent this room, and why were you looking for a room?
My son and I were living in an environment that I felt was unacceptable for him. My work hours are late, and I wanted somewhere where I could consider him home at 12 years old. So I responded to an ad for a room for rent in a beautiful home, and I quote to you, cable, DSL, nice neighborhood. And I met Elena with my wife, and I told
Were
her
you
that...
and your wife living together?
No, at the time, no. I went through 17 months of self-employment and financial problems prerequisited her to move in with her parents and myself and my 12-year-old son to move into a smaller residence. We had a condo.
Your son is not the product of this marriage.
No, ma'am.
So you were separated from your wife at the time?
Yes. And we left and had a good conversation with Elena the first time I met her. And,
When was that?
That was, I think, late May of this year.
When did you move into the room?
About June 28th.
June 28th or something to that effect. She may have documents to...
Is that right? When did he move in?
He moved in July 2nd.
Do you have a lease?
Yes, ma'am.
I can see it, please.
This is for the first room, and this is for the second room.
How many rooms were there?
There were two. The first one, the 28th, the second, I mean, it's 4 days difference. When I had the conversation with Lynn and my wife concerning the potential rental, and my wife and I spoke about it, we thought it was a good idea, but I didn't have the capital. She wanted a month's rent and a month's rent for deposit. So I approached her again some days later and asked her if she'd be willing to rent to me with just the rent up front, and then we can make payments or something for the deposit. She hesitated not 1 second, absolutely. So my son and I, we moved into a small room that was very small, but it accommodated us. Nice house. We went into the other room after the fact. It was a much larger master bedroom. So.
Okay, how much was the rent on the second room?
$800 per month.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So you were in the second room, $800 per month, on or about the beginning of July, and you paid her how much?
She probably has receipts for that effect also. 7 something and.
Mr. Glenn, you knew you were coming to court today.
Right. My stuff is all over the place in storage and everywhere because of this.
Mr. Glenn, that's not my problem. That's your problem. You know you're coming to court. If your stuff is all over and you're talking about a couple of months ago, you get it. You get it together so that you have it.
I apologize.
Ms. Chavez, how much did he pay you when he moved in the beginning of July?
When he moved in the beginning of July, he gave me $600. The last payment he gave me to complete that was $200, supposedly $200, but he only gave me $150 of it, lacking $50.
Oh, $750 you received from him the entire month of July, and what was owing on that room was $800 for the rent. Is that right?
I agree with that.
What about the security deposit? How much did you receive for security deposit?
He never paid that, Your Honor.
Is that correct, sir?
Not during the month of July.
That's what I'm asking you. So the month of July, you never paid for the security deposit.
No, ma'am.
And you were $50 short on rent.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
let's get to August.
Okay.
How much did he pay you for the entire month of August?
$770.
So for the entire month of August, you were $30 short in rent, correct, sir?
Mm-hmm.
And how much did he pay towards the security deposit?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Is that correct, sir?
No, ma'am. And
how much did you pay towards the security deposit in August?
In the month of August, I paid $80 to her on the 26th, and I think I paid her $172 or something down to my penny in the 1st of August. So it's about $250 and 20 cents, roughly. For deposit.
And an additional $770
for rent.
For rent.
Right.
Yes.
That's not true. I give him receipts when he gives me money, and
she gives me receipts like this sometimes also.
Just a second. In any event, there came a time, according to you, take your hands off your hips.
Yes, ma'am.
Came a time, according to you, in the month of August, that you told her you were leaving.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you tell her you were leaving?
August the 26th. I was paid by a side job that I did. I'm an auto mechanic. Fixed her car a few times and said, "Hey, Lena, let me give you $80, towards my rent because I'm going to be about $80 short." She took the cash money and she put it in her pocket and she said, "Tim, I can't put that towards the rent. That's got to go towards the deposit." And I said, "Okay, understandably so. But if you do that right now, I won't have the rent complete on the 1st. And she goes, "It's not my problem. I don't have nothing to do with it." So I told her, "I'm going to move out on the 1st. I'll make other arrangements, okay?" That was Saturday the 26th, I believe it was.
Okay.
Sunday, we go to court, my son and I. Court. We went to church, and when we walked out of church, I turned my cell phone on, and I received a voicemail from Elena, and I can't quote you exactly, but the gist of the thing was I've been crunching some numbers, and you owe me $290 right now, she told me, and until I get that money, you will not get back in the house, and you will have to take me to court for your property. This is the day before school starts, and I have a 12-year-old boy, all right? So I called her based on that voicemail, and I said, "Do you want to call the sheriff, or do you want me to call the sheriff? Because I've paid you all the rent for this month." I gave her $80.
Well, you hadn't. You were still shy. But she is still required to go to court to evict you.
So she says, "Okay, you know what? You call them if you want to." So I call the sheriff. 40 minutes later, they show up. I take my cell phone out. I play the voicemail for the sheriff. She said in the voicemail, "Until you pay me the money, you're not getting your stuff." The sheriff said, "I can't touch this. But if you want to go knock on the door, I'll stand there to effect the peace." Okay? So I approach the door and I knock very lightly. Okay, there are people there, and Justin's mom was there also. He's one of the witnesses for her. And no one answers the door. The sheriff then decides to knock on the door herself, somewhat louder. Okay, we know we've gotten attention at this point. No one will answer the door. Then the sheriff decides to take the flashlight. Knock, knock, knock. She's getting angry, the female deputy, all right? We see Elena through the door window go upstairs quickly, and she won't answer. Sometime later, Elena comes to the window and says, "Who is it that's knocking at my door?" And she said, "This is the sheriff's department. Ma'am, I need to speak to you." And she said, "Go ahead." And she said, "I need you to come to the door." And she goes, "I'm not going to open the door for him." And she said, "Why not?" And she said, "Because he owes me money." And the sheriff's department said, "Do you have an eviction papers? Do you have anything like that you can show me?" And she goes, "No, but he owes me money and I'm not letting him in until he pays." Justin's mom comes to the door to come outside of the house, and she walks out. When she does, the deputy puts her foot in the front door. And Elena tried to close the door on the deputy. And the deputy said, I'm not having that, and she bowled her way into the house. I think you'll get a chance.
Do you think I need help?
I'm sorry. You have to understand what I've been through. I apologize.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He proceeded to move his hips left to right with such force that his genitalia made slapping sounds, and he laughed about it.
Miss Chavez, you know you're full of baloney.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Timothy Glenn says ex-landlord Elena Chavez owes for an illegal eviction. Elena is countersuing for a security deposit, the return of property, and sexual battery.
Go ahead.
This is unbelievable. The deputy then forced their way into the house, at which point Elena became completely irate. Just unbelievable. She almost sat on the ground going nuts. She told them I stole money from her. She told them that I broke her gate and that I exposed myself to her and her 2 children. All right? At this point, I thought about it for a moment and I said, I don't even want back in this house because I can't leave my boy here. Who knows what she's going to do?
Do you have a police report?
They did not make a police report.
The answer is you don't.
No, they didn't. Here's the case number if you want to call them and verify.
Do you have a police report? I'd like to see it, please.
Okay.
You see what they both have.
So the watch commander looked at me and he goes, do you want to be here? And I said, no, but I want my stuff. And he goes, well, go get your stuff. So I went upstairs and started to get my stuff. And the whole time I've got my cell phone on, my wife is listening to it on speakerphone the whole time. And the watch commander said, can you prove this to me, what you just said? And she goes, yes, I can. She goes, Justin, Alex, and that's these 2 guys here. And they come downstairs with their hands in their pockets looking at the ground. And he goes, this woman says that he exposed himself to her and her kids. Can you testify to that? And Justin and Alex both looked at him and went, nope. And he said, ma'am, I don't want to hear anything else from you. I want you to sit down and let him get his stuff. And I left.
And did you get your stuff?
I got all of it, yes, ma'am. Okay. And as I left, I gave Justin, in the presence of Kareem, everything that belonged to Elena, the wireless modem, the stereo pieces, the leather jacket I still owed money on, even some chairs that belonged to another renter.
What leather jacket that you still?
A leather jacket I was buying from her. I gave her $10 out of 50, and I had forgotten it in my closet, but as I was moving, I saw it. In his presence, I gave everything that belonged to her to him. And if I still have anything else, it's because I forgot it. I'm not taking nothing from her.
Put your hands down. Put your hands down.
This is just unbelievable.
So I have a few direct questions to ask you, Ms. Chavez. Did you leave a message on Mr. Glenn's cell phone on or about the 26th of August?
No, it was on the 28th, Sunday 28th.
And what did you say in the message on his cell phone?
That he needed to pay at least the $290 and that I wasn't going to open the door. He doesn't have keys because he lost them. And I told him, I'm tired of being your door person. He's broken my gate trying to get over the gate to get into back to get in the house.
Listen, I asked you what you said.
That he needed to pay that to get in the house and that I wasn't going to open the door if he wanted to come in.
Listen to me. You cannot do that. You cannot lock him out. You cannot prevent him from entering. That's an illegal eviction. You cannot do that.
I wasn't
doing that. Yes, you were. Ms. Chavez, you absolutely were.
I didn't change the locks.
I don't care whether you changed the locks. Listen to me. I read the police.
If he went and got his keys, he could have come in.
I'm speaking. You were home when the police came to your door.
Yes, I was.
You refused initially to open the door for the police.
For him. The police had to open.
Ms. Chavez! You refused to open the door for the police. You cannot do that. Now, when the police finally were able to gain entrance to your house and speak to you, what was the first thing that you said to them?
I said I would let her in, but not him. And she said, fine, I just want to come in. So she came in, and we started talking. And she asked me what was going on, and I explained it to her. And
what did you tell her? The first thing that you told the police officer as to why you weren't letting him in your house?
Because he owed money, and I was trying to make an attempt to get him to pay some of it.
Okay. Now we're going to get to your counterclaim. Take your hands out of your pockets.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Your counterclaim is that A, he owes you for rent. B, he stole property from your house. You were unclear in your answer as to what property he stole. You want to tell me now?
Yes, he took with him 2 towels, a rug, a VCR that I had loaned him. He never returned it. The cable transformers and the modem key that was given to him by Charter. He never returned those things.
Okay. Do you have any of those things?
Everything I thought was hers I gave to Justin, but I'm willing to look in my stores and see if I have the VCR still. I mean, you can buy a brand new 4-head stereo VCR for $20 at Walmart, right?
I got it. I got it. Okay, so that's a lot of baloney. It sounded like a lot of baloney to me because it wasn't even listed in your answer. But what you want the most for is you claim a sexual battery.
Yes.
You want to tell me about that, Ms. Chavez?
Timothy Glenn claims he was illegally evicted by former landlord Elena Chavez. Elena claims Timothy committed lewd acts.
Now, you claim a sexual battery.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The first time it happened was about the third week of July. We were in the kitchen, my roommates, Alex, Justin, and we were proceeding to have lunch. Everybody fixes their own thing. And he came in, and he's very, happy, smiley guy. And he started talking about how easy it is for him to get women. And he proceeded to move his hips left to right with such force that his genitalia made slapping sounds, and he laughed about it.
Oh, my.
And I was like, totally grossed out, and I told him that it wasn't funny because he was laughing. He thinks it's funny.
What else, Ms. Chavez?
And other occasions he's done it before. He's
Ms. Chavez, you know you're full of baloney.
Yeah. I'm not.
Hey, quiet. You want to go to the theater? Go to a movie. It's a court.
He did this, okay?
Listen to me. If he did it, and if you were so offended by it that you wanted to terminate his lease, I'm speaking. You give him 30 days notice in July, which is when you say this happened, and say, I cannot have that kind of behavior in my home. You chose not to do that, so I cannot believe I'm speaking. So close your mouth, put on your listening ears. You chose not to do that. What you chose to do was to allow him to stay there and then illegally lock him out. And when push came to shove, you resurrected this baloney to justify your illegal activity. And what I'm telling you is, you cannot do that. And it's a terrible thing to say about somebody, especially somebody who is the custodian of a child, especially that. Put your hand down.
I am.
Put your hand down. In addition,
in front of them, and not more than once.
Listen to me. You had an option. Your option was, I'm speaking. It's irrelevant that you spoke to him. If the conduct was so offensive to you, you give him a 30-day notice, which is your right. He is a month-to-month tenant, and he would have to leave. You chose not to do that. You chose, after this happened in July, according to you, I'm speaking, lease. Put on your listening ears, you chose, according to you, to accept rent in August, according to you, of $770. And if the conduct so grossed you out, all you had to do in July was say, I want you out. You chose not to do that. So I disbelieve how grossed out you are by any of his conduct. You cannot do what you did, and especially make allegations of a sexual nature with regard to someone who is a custodial parent. Very bad. And I also gather from your answer, because he's got a complaint, that you called his son's school. The very day he moved out, you called his son. I'm speaking. You called his son's school to say that he was no longer living at that address. What was the reason for that?
The document states that I have to do that.
Oh, show me. Show me the document that states that you have to call the day after he moves out.
I called 3 days.
Show me. Well, unfortunately, Mr. Glenn, this form that she has indicates that she has to advise the school within 3 days if you've changed your residence.
Okay, that's not all she told the principal.
Well, I don't know what she told the principal unless you have the principal here.
No, he wouldn't come.
Well, your allegation is that vindictively, and I guarantee you vindictively she made this call, but she is required to do it, and therefore I cannot in good conscience rule in your favor with regard to that part of your complaint. I think Ms. Chavez acted wrongly. I think she made an excuse for her behavior after the police told her that she couldn't evict you.
I agree.
She couldn't lock you out, and she said, well, you were a threat to her because you sexually battered her. You may have been guilty of poor judgment or poor taste in your storytelling, Mr. Glenn, but there is no evidence whatsoever of sexual battery. Is there? Right. Okay. Mr. Glenn, where did you go after you left her house?
Well, I went to Corrine Pardina's house that night. We didn't know where we were going to go until about 7 p.m.
Okay, so you went to somebody's house, you slept there. Where are you living now?
Right now, we're living next door to my wife in Altaloma. We're on the way back again, and it's great. I mean, everything's coming together.
Well, that's fine. So it worked out reasonably well, but I believe that you have to be compensated, not just because she refused to allow you in, because ultimately what you said was, I'm afraid to leave my son here because she's acting like a nut. Hey. So I'm going to take my son and go elsewhere because I can't leave him here, and she acted improperly.
Whether it was
I believe, I'm speaking.
I'm sorry.
I believe the fact that she told the police this baloney story about sexual battery is worthy of compensation. And it's worthy of compensation because of who you are, because of the fact that you are a custodial parent. And I don't think that she has the right to use that as an excuse for her illegal behavior. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. Your counterclaim is dismissed. That's all.
Yeah, this is case number 169 on the calendar in the matter of Greenlee versus Smith. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Ms. Greenlee, there was a time last year when you and Mr. Smith were employed by the same bus company, a school bus company. And it is your claim that while you were out doing your route, Mr. Smith backed a school bus into your parked car and then took off, damaging your car. You want him to pay for the damage to the car and other related expenses. Mr. Smith says he never touched your car. And he is counterclaiming because he says because you filed these charges against him, he was humiliated at work, he was arrested on the job, and he was ultimately acquitted of those charges. Did you have a trial?
No. The police officer dropped everything.
Okay. And told you to proceed civilly, I assume. So he's got a counterclaim. When did this incident happen with your car?
January 12th of 2004.
And at what time did you leave that day on your bus?
6:30 a.m.
When did you return to the yard?
Approximately 8:15 a.m.
When did you look at your car?
As soon as I got back to the garage.
And what did you discover?
I discovered a dent, and there was rub marks from where my paint had been rubbed off. A part of
Do you have photographs of it?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see the photographs.
And I also have a videotape of the bus actually hitting the vehicle. There is the videotape.
So your car is red?
No, my car is orange.
Orange?
Yes.
Okay. Orange.
Orange.
I assume before you looked at the video, you conducted your own investigation. According to what I read here, a little bit of an investigation on your own. You went around looking at all the buses.
Yes.
And didn't find any of them with any damage?
No.
So what did you do next?
We went on our afternoon routes. David's the only bus that did not come back to the garage that morning. So when we got to, we both drove at the same elementary school. He was off of his bus, and I went and I seen the orange paint and the rub mark on the back of the bus. My husband was actually up at the transportation director's office speaking with him, told him the damages I found.
Okay. Don't tell me what your husband said. That's hearsay. But you saw orange paint on Mr. Smith's bus?
Yes.
Did you speak to him?
No.
All right, Mr. Smith. Now, tell me your version of what happened that morning.
I got in my bus around 6:40. I backed my bus up. I had another bus that was to the left of me that I couldn't clear, so I had to get off my bus because my two-way radio did not work on my bus. Got off my bus, went and asked the other driver if she could back up so I could go around. I did my route.
So it's your claim that at no time did you hit Miss Greenlee's car?
No, ma'am.
Now, you were subsequently arrested?
The police come to my work to arrest me for hit and run, but my boss asked them before they arrested me to go and watch the videotape at the transportation office. So my two bosses, the transportation director, the police officer, and myself, all went down. We watched the videotape. The police officer watched the tape twice. He come out, told me he was not going to arrest me.
Just a second, did you watch the tape with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, what do you mean he came out and told you? What is that?
He watched it twice. The first time we watched it together.
Yes.
The second time he watched it with the transportation director. And he come out and said he was not going to arrest me, he was not going to write me a citation, that he would let the insurance companies deal with it.
Okay, can I see the videotape, please?
As you can see, David's entering the bus. Starts backing up. He's having trouble maneuvering the bus back. Stops and pulls up. As you can see, my vehicle to the left. He keeps
That's your
backing.
car? Is that
yes.
your car?
Yes. He keeps backing.
But there was no
There
contact
is
made.
point of impact. Pulls the emergency brake. Apparently gets off of the bus for 14 seconds to see what he has hit.
Well, there's certainly a shadow back there now that I see.
Yes. Gets back on the bus and proceeds to take off.
Okay, if I hit the vehicle, why do I sit there for 30 seconds before I pull off?
What are you asking me a question for, Mr. Smith? That wasn't a bus back there. That was a car.
Yes.
What you told me a moment ago, Mr. Smith, was that there was a bus behind you. There was a bus that prohibited you from making a turn. You got off and you spoke to the bus driver and asked her to move. I saw no other bus back there,
The bus
sir.
was to my left.
I saw a car that you came dangerously close to if you didn't hit it.
Yes, ma'am. What I'm saying is I couldn't make my clearance. That's when I got off my bus to go ask the lady if she could back up so I could go and make my clearance to the left.
Not a big deal, Mr. Smith. You just should have accepted responsibility and said, it was a total accident. I didn't mean to hit your car. I will certainly pay for the damage. And be finished with it. Instead
I
of
didn't
making...
hit her.
You did! You hit her car.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Unfortunately, we have electronics to establish it.
If you look at the tape like the police officer did, you will see I did not hit her car.
You think his eyes are better than mine?
No, you just have to pay close attention to the tape.
Sir, you have something from the police officer that says that you didn't hit her car?
No, ma'am.
You have a statement from the police officer, even though it's hearsay, which says, listen, tell your insurance companies to take care of it. This isn't worth my arresting you for hit and run. Nobody was injured. You're two reasonable people, working people. Let your insurance companies take care of it. That's what the police officer said. He didn't say that you didn't hit her car. Okay, can I see your estimates on having your car fixed, please? Did you have your car fixed?
Yes, I did.
Good. You're not working for the same bus company anymore?
No, ma'am.
Right, good. What year car was this?
2003. I purchased it 6 months prior to it being hit.
Did you receive insurance coverage for it?
Yes. My insurance company paid for it because approximately 14 days after the accident, the bus company's insurance said they could not find who was at fault because they never requested the tape.
Well, what was your deductible?
$450. And then I also had to get a rental car, and that total was $138.57. And I have
Why
my
are you
credit card.
suing him for $5,000?
I'm suing for the deductible, the rental car, the actual damages to pay back the insurance company because my rates are going up because of the accident, and also $2,801.94 in punitive damages for the stress, the mental anguish that I went through over a year and a half of dealing with this incident.
Unfortunately, you don't get paid for that. So your deductible was $450?
Yes.
And you rented a car for $138?
Yes.
It's $588. Could have resolved the whole thing.
I don't owe her a dime.
You do too.
I do
You
not.
hit a car.
I did not hit her car.
And it may, Mr. Smith, be giving you the benefit of the doubt because this didn't look to me as if this was this kind of crash. It looked as if the bus was going very slowly and maybe you just eased into it with the bumper.
But if you could see the damage, even if I eased into it, it's not going to cause that much damage.
You have an expert that's going to testify to that, sir?
I can get one.
What did you think you were coming here for, a tea party today? This is it. You've been hucking around with this lady for well over a year.
No,
Pay her the $588. That's what you owe her. You were wrong. Say, I was wrong, I'm sorry. I know that that's sometimes hard, but that's what men do. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I should have resolved it then. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
You just don't want to admit and be a man and say I did it and I'm sorry. That's all I wanted from it.
She's a deceitful person and I want nothing to do with her.
I've never spoke to him a day after the accident happened.
We used to be good friends and we had us falling out.
I'm finally glad that justice did come out finally.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lucy versus Todd. Step forward.
18-year-old Christine Lucy is suing the father of her daughter, 19-year-old Fred Todd, for damage to her car. Christine says a drunken Fred kicked her door.
Miss Lucy, this young man used to be your boyfriend?
Yes.
And you have a child together with him?
Mm-hmm.
And you claim that he has a bad temper. And because of his bad temper, he kicked or slammed your car door on 2 separate occasions, causing some damage.
Yes.
Mr. Todd says that your car is old, that you both lost your temper and slammed the car door. Yours on your side, his on his side, and he's not responsible for any damage. How old is this baby that you have together?
She's a year old.
Did you ever live with Mr. Todd?
Yeah. When I found out that I was pregnant, we moved in together, and from then it's been kind of a rocky relationship. I've moved out and moved back in a few times.
When you moved out, you moved back home with your parents?
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
Where are you living now?
With my parents.
Stay there.
I am.
I mean, it's not for you. You're 18, you're still a baby yourself, but you made a baby, you have a responsibility to give that baby a certain amount of stability, and you don't need any more boyfriends for a while, and you just have to concentrate on your child.
And that's why I decided in June of this year that I wanted her to have a stable home where her family wasn't fighting all the time.
Right, because an 18-year-old, how old are you?
19.
Another genius. An 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, or a 16-year-old, and a 17-year-old, when they make a baby, that's a very dumb thing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So, when was the first damage he allegedly did to the car?
In July of this year, he was too drunk to drive, and his mom needed a ride to work. And I went to go pick him up and take him over to get his mom and take her to work. And on the way there...
You mean, just a minute, his mother called and said he's too drunk to drive?
No, he called me and said that his mom needed a ride to work and he was too drunk.
What time of the day was this?
It was about 10 o'clock at night.
Does that ring a familiar chord, sir?
No, Your Honor. For one thing, I wasn't drunk. I hadn't been drinking.
Your Honor, that's...
Shh, just a second.
I didn't have a car at the time.
Mr. Todd,
actually.
Did you say to her, I've been drinking? Let's say you didn't use the word drunk. I've been drinking, my mom needs a ride to work.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
listen to me. I have in my brain a truth machine. I'm not here to hurt you, Mr. Todd. I'm only going to hurt you if you don't tell me the truth.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What's my business is that she's taking my daughter around those people.
It's not your business unless there's something wrong with these people.
Well,
You're not her morals monitor.
You know,
just like she's not your morals monitor.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Christine Lucy says the father of her child, Fred Todd, kicked her door during a drunken argument.
What kind of work were you doing in July?
I'm a dock worker, as a matter of fact.
Were you making good money?
Well, at one job I was making $15.50 an hour, and at the other job I was making $13 an hour.
How many hours a week?
About in between 30 and 40 hours, and the other ones it was sometimes from 20 all the way up to 40 hours.
So you're working at least 50 hours a week?
Yeah.
How much were you giving her?
I'd say in between 50 and 60.
Shh. So, of the $1,250 that you were making, you were giving her between $50 and $60 a week for the baby.
Yeah.
What were you doing with the rest of your money?
I had to buy a car. I owe money for things. I have a lot of bills. I live on my own. Just, I mean, all
Were you
kinds
living
of
on your own in
things.
July?
Oh, yeah. I've been living on my own since I was 17. So.
Now, so tell me about this. Now we're going to get back to the car.
The first incident when I went to go take his mother to work, on the way there we got into a fight over his drinking and him not giving me any money for our daughter. And he got upset, and when we got there he opened the door and he kicked it to keep it open, and when he did that, I guess it shifted my car door because the door was flush with the front panel.
What kind of car do you have?
I have a 97 Grand Am.
All right, when was the next incident involving the car?
The next incident was early the next week. He wanted to talk about some things, so I told him that he could come with me on my errands and talk to me on the way because I was very busy that day. And so we didn't talk a whole lot while I was doing my errands. It was on the way back. He tried to convince me to get back with him and try to start a relationship again. I told him that I didn't want to. I wanted to stay at my parents' house, try to build my own life, and he got very upset about that and lost his temper and started yelling at me. And then when we got to his mom's house so I could pick up our daughter, he did the exact same thing again. He opened the car door and kicked it. But
you mean kicked it open?
Yeah.
Kicked it open, didn't kick it closed, kicked it open.
He kicked it open. It was actually the hinges in the door frame were so far bent that you couldn't open or close my door.
Can I see the estimate?
Sure.
Good.
The pictures are here.
Good.
As well.
Okay, Mr. Todd, now I'm going to hear you.
Well, we went out to get it inspected, and she, like, as soon as we broke up, she immediately started dating again, immediately trying to replace me, immediately trying to get a, I don't know if she was trying to get another father for my daughter or what she was trying to do. So it made me angry because I'm my daughter's father, and she's not going to replace me. I'm not going to let her. And,
well, what do you mean replace you? I don't understand you mean replace you.
I don't want to bring in a whole bunch of guys, into my daughter's life, in and out of my daughter's life, because that's not, I don't feel that's a good situation for her. to grow up in, with guys in and out, over life all the time.
What makes you think, sir, that the plaintiff is going to bring a whole bunch of guys in and out of your daughter's life?
Because within the first 4 months of us being broken up, she's already had 3 or 4 in and out of her life already.
Just to say, 3 or 4 what in and out of it? She
3 or
lived with
4 guys.
How, you mean that she's dated?
Yeah, but she's taken my daughter around and brought them around my daughter.
So, I mean, if you're telling me that she's lived in the 4 months that you've been separated, she moved in with one guy and then she moved out and then she moved in with another guy and she moved out and she moved in with another guy and she moved out, I would say to her, you're doing the wrong thing. And I would say to you, if you don't like her conduct and if you think her conduct is damaging to the child, and that would be damaging, go to court and seek custody of the child.
And we're in the process of that.
Just a second. But if what you're telling me is she's dated 4 people since the 2 of you split up, that's none of your business.
No, you're right. You're right. It is none of my business. But what's my business is that she's taken my daughter around those people, and I don't want my daughter
around. What do you mean around those people? I don't know what you mean. You mean when she goes out with them, she'll spend a Sunday afternoon with them in the park?
She'll bring them back to her mom and dad's house.
So that's not your business.
But they're around my daughter.
That's not your business.
May I ask why?
That's not your business unless there's something wrong with these people.
Well,
you're not her morals monitor. Just like she's not your morals monitor. Get to kicking the car.
So, that was what the argument was about. So we was arguing about that, and we come pulling up.
About which you were wrong.
Okay, about which I was wrong.
Absolutely, because you're not going to like it 2 years from now when you have a new girlfriend who moves in with you, because I have a feeling you like to have somebody live with you. And she says, I don't want my daughter over there sleeping over. He sleeps with this woman and they sleep in the same bed, and I don't want that. I'm going to tell you the same thing. That's none of your business. When a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old are dumb enough to make a baby, you got to make concessions for the next 20 years. Think about having another one. Got it? I would have 3 jobs if I were you, so that you kept busy. Why did you kick her door?
I didn't kick her door. Actually, we was pulling up to my mother's house. The second time isn't when I don't think that it could have got damaged. The second time, we both got out of the car when we was arguing and slammed the door.
Just a minute, but her door opens.
But what I'm saying is I think it was the first incident. If I can explain that to you, I think that's what damaged the door to make it do that the second time when I
So you mean you just started it the first time, but the second time it was real? You pushed it over?
I didn't kick her door. Is what I'm saying.
Just listen to me. You were the passenger.
Yeah.
Door doesn't close.
Okay.
She could slam her door.
Okay, but
her door closes and opens.
Mm-hmm.
You got it?
Yeah.
Got it. Charging for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,022. That's all. Thank you.
Case number 153 on the calendar in the matter of Aviton versus Zuniga. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Aviton, according to your complaint, you dated the defendant for about 6 months.
Yes.
You knew at the time that he was married.
Did not know.
Well,
I
read your complaint. So your complaint says that with regard to the cell phone that you claim that you got for him.
Yeah.
The reason that you got it, put your hand down. The reason you say you got him the cell phone was because he told you that his wife was checking on the number.
Right. There's a preface to it. I started working at the animal hospital that we were at probably in July.
I'm going to finish my statement, then I'll get back to you. In any event, he was married, you were dating him, and you claimed that you made him a series of loans. In addition, you claim that he asked you to get him a cell phone, you got him a cell phone, he ran up a bill, and he owes you the bill. Mr. Zuniga says that you got him the cell phone because you were calling him 20 times a day, and you were running up his telephone bill, that anything that you did for him was voluntary.
Yes.
There was no agreement to pay you back any of the money that you gave him. And in addition, he's counterclaiming because he says that since he and you are no longer an item, that you've been acting like a nutty lady and seriously harassing him, and he can prove it.
Right.
Okay. So, when did you first start dating the defendant?
I would say probably like the last week in July, maybe.
When did you find out that he was married?
After I started dating him.
Just a second. So, how much after? A week, 2 weeks, a month?
Probably a week or two, I would say.
Okay. But you didn't break off the relationship.
Well, I didn't break off the relationship with him because, number one, he told me that he and his wife were at dire straits, that they would be separating, and he also told me that they weren't getting along.
Well, that doesn't help much. You understood he was still married,
Correct.
still living with his wife.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's start out with the cell phone.
The cell phone bills I have here, first of all, I didn't get him the cell phone bill because I was calling him constantly. I got him the cell phone bill because when
You got him the cell phone?
Yeah, cell phone. The time he claims I was calling him constantly, he didn't want my number showing up on his cell phone bill. So he said, should we get another cell phone? I said, I'll put another one on my account for you. And I told him, I said, but you're going to have to pay. I said, there's no reason for me to go ahead and.
Is that what happened, Mr. Zuniga?
No, that's not what happened at all. I have phone bills here from my phone company that'll
For your
show
cell
you.
phone.
Right. That'll show you all the times that she did call, and they were all calls within a minute to 2 minutes apart.
But you took a cell phone from her.
Yes.
Tell me why.
Because I told her, once I got my first phone bill, I told her that there were too many phone calls, that this all had to stop. This whole relationship had to stop because of all these phone calls. She didn't agree with it. So then she offered to get me a cell phone bill. She said she was going to buy me one, and then she proceeded to take her boyfriend's cell phone and give it to me.
Why in the world, within the very short time of starting to have a relationship with her, if you saw that she was behaving in an inappropriate way by calling you that number of times in a 1 or 2 day period, why did you continue the relationship?
Because I thought that maybe she would change if, I would tell her that this was becoming a nuisance. Maybe she would change it a little bit. Maybe she would stop the phone calls.
Now, where did you tell your wife you were when you were with her?
Actually, me and my wife were separated for a while.
But not all the time, Mr. Zuniga. So when you weren't separated, where did you tell your wife you were?
I would just leave. I wouldn't tell her anything. Sometimes I would tell her I was with friends, but the majority of the time I would just walk out the house.
Oh, okay. Now, you took money from her.
The only money that I took from her was the money that she used to pay my cell phone bill, which was this one.
How much money did you take?
She made a payment of $100.
All right, so what other monies, Ms. Aviton, do you claim you gave him?
Well, I have here from August 2004, on the 17th of August and the 23rd of August, we had been together that particular evening, and we had decided to go to Hollywood to get tattoos. So I had said to him, I'm going to go ahead and get one. He says, well, can I get this and that, and I'll repay you for it. I said, fine, no problem. Well, because of the fact that we were in a relationship, I took him at his word.
Okay, so tattoos, joint tattoos. What else?
They weren't joint. Then there's a diving mask and the leather phone case and charger for the cell phone that I got him. The phone case and the diving mask were September 15th and September 24th. Then in December was the remote control battery for the car and the satellite radio. And then in November, he asked me to buy him a CD burner. Then there is, in November again, there's window tinting on his truck that I spent $100 for as well. That was supposed to be reimbursed. And then we have the...
okay, so you gave him the first money in August. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did he pay you back that money?
None of it.
You gave him money in September?
None of it.
Shh, listen to me. You gave him money in September?
Yes.
Did he pay you back?
No.
And you gave him money in November?
Yes.
And when you gave him money in November, he hadn't paid back the August, September, October money?
Right.
So let me explain to you what happened. You gave him a lot of money.
Yeah, I did.
Right. So you have to cross it off. You made a mistake. Put your hand down. I didn't ask you a question. I'm not pleased with you either. We understand each other, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Good. Because as far as I'm concerned, if what you did was, if you were living with your wife, and for at least part of this time you were living with your wife, and you were accepting gifts from her.
Right, but if I could...
I'm speaking. Try looking at my eyes. And if you were accepting gifts from her, that doesn't make you a nice person. Doesn't make her a nice person. Doesn't make you a nice person. And it makes me the victim because I got to listen to this baloney.
Right.
You made a mistake. You had no legitimate expectation that he was going to pay you back. Maybe you thought he was going to leave his wife and you were going to be together. But you had no legitimate expectation of being paid back for a tattoo in August, in December when you loaned him yet more money.
And they weren't separated at the time. They were still living together. They lived with his sister and whoever else.
And according to you, the reason that you gave him the cell phone was that you agreed that his wife shouldn't see when you called him.
Right. But if you'll notice on these bills, he's called his old... used it for everything else.
I don't care. I'm talking about your character, not his.
Okay.
I'm talking about your character.
It was a mistake.
I'm talking about your character, not a mistake.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Get over it.
He's got a kid from another woman, and he's 3. I mean, he cheats all the time.
Are you trying to justify to me
the
fact that you're an idiot?
And later today...
I'm sitting there for about 10 minutes or so, and he just came up out of the garage and started hitting me in the back of the head, in the face.
I don't remember.
You don't
I
remember?
remember
Well,
doing
that's
it,
the
so.
problem when you drink too much, sir.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Susan Avitan says ex-boyfriend Carlos Zuniga owes for a loan and a cell phone bill. Carlos is countersuing for defamation of character.
All right, sir. Now that you understand that you have 0% of my sympathy, I'm going to hear your counterclaim.
Some time ago, this last time I changed my phone number, my cell phone number, when she tried to contact me after I changed it, she couldn't, so then she proceeded to call my wife and left a message on her voicemail stating that she was to tell me that if I think I'm a smart, what she was going to do was file a sexual harassment complaint with the city of Beverly Hills, and then she was going to call my boss and write her letter explaining everything that has happened.
She left that in a message?
Yes.
You have it?
I don't have the message. Unfortunately, we weren't able to record it.
Right.
But,
Which I did not.
but I have the letter that she did write to my boss.
As well
and
as I.
everything is explained there, the
Can I see
defamation
it?
of character. I also have a record of several phone bills that she called
Can
every
I
time
say
she
something
called
about
me.
the?
No.
And if you take a look at these phone records, there are quite a bit of phone calls. They're all highlighted for you.
Why did you go to the police?
Do you really want me to go into the gory details?
Well, I
what
want to know
happened-
first, why don't you tell me when you went to the police?
I went to the police in April. What had happened?
Shh. You went to the police in April, not while you were dating and intimate with him afterwards.
Yeah. But there's extenuating circumstances as well with that letter. I had a previous...
You were on medication.
No, I should have been.
No, you were on medication.
No.
She tried to get me fired.
I believe that she tried to get you
Well,
fired.
no, you know what? It wasn't that I tried to get him fired. I was let go from that job because when Carlos and I got involved, it was getting more difficult for me to work with him, obviously, right? And there was an incident in an x-ray room at the hospital that when the detectives brought him in, he lied flat out to them and told them that he didn't do it. And I have a friend that she couldn't be here today, that I told about it right after it happened.
You got fired from your job, so you tried to get him fired.
No, that's not why, because we were still dating at that point.
She also tried to
Just
get
a second. So what you're telling me is you were still dating and you were complaining that he sexually harassed you in an x-ray room?
No, this was after the fact.
Listen, get over it. Get over it.
Okay.
Stop acting like a baby. How old are you?
Old enough.
Then stop acting like a baby. You fool around with a married guy, you get burned. You lose money, you can lose your job, you lose your self-respect. Lots of bad things happen to you. Get over it.
If I could say one other thing, I work at Hollywood Park at the racetrack, and she also almost got me fired from there. She would call there constantly speaking to my manager.
Oh, you're such a liar,
And then
Carlos.
after
Listen, I don't want to hear from you.
And she even had a big cookie delivered there. When she had that delivered there, right after she had it delivered, she called constantly trying to ask what my reactions were, if I had any comments.
Did you seek a restraining order
Yes, I
against
did.
her? And what happened?
The first time we appeared in
Lied.
court, the judge said that it was just a whole bunch of nonsense and it was foolish. That same day, she contacted me. She called my cell phone. Throughout that month, she called me a total of probably anywhere from 10 to 18 times. When we went back to court, there was a different judge that heard the case the second time. The judge said what she was doing wasn't considered harassment, and he dropped the case. And I have a copy of the restraining order here.
I'd like to see a copy of the restraining order.
The reason he had the restraining order issued to begin with is I had also purchased some tires and rims for him that I wanted back when we had split up that he hadn't paid for. And that's
Listen to me. You bought him a bunch of presents and you got angry.
But that has nothing to do with the tires and rims.
Yes,
Judith.
it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
He had the restraining order issued to cover it up for his wife. This was a bunch of nonsense. He's been living with her the whole time that we were together. He's lying.
Listen to me. Madam, get over it.
He's got a kid from another woman, and
Yes.
he's 3. I mean,
Listen,
he cheats all the time.
Listen.
I'm not the only one.
So what? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you trying to justify to me the fact that you're an idiot?
Well, yeah, that goes without saying, but...
Are you trying to... I'm telling you, get over it. Get over it. You have no case against him. You made him a whole bunch of gifts because you liked the attention, you liked the affection, you liked the intimacy, whatever it was. He dumped you. It's over.
That's fine.
It's over. So then stop this nonsense. You're the plaintiff here. Put your hand down. Mr. Zuniga, You play with fire, you're going to get burned,
Right.
sir. Don't come here asking for a court to take up time when you did the wrong thing. If
I
you
agree.
broke her heart, Mr. Zuniga, because you took advantage of her, you allowed her to buy you gifts, you allowed her to buy you rims for your car, you allowed her to buy you a CD burner, you allowed her to pay for a tattoo, you allowed her to indulge you. And all the time you knew that this was just a temporary thing. You were still living at home. You were lying to your wife. Remember what I told you 5 minutes ago?
Right.
Zero sympathy for you, sir. Courts don't help people like you.
I agree. I mean...
Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He came after me. He's a liar. He's got a child from another woman that's 3 years old. He's been married for 5 years. He's been cheating on his wife since they've been married.
He worked with me. She knows my wife worked there. All the gifts that she gave me, I asked her to take them all back, and she never did.
He would cry to me that his wife was mean to him, and I mean, he's a liar.
He's just one of those types of person that wants to buy people's feelings.
Believe me, I wouldn't do this again for $1 million.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Clapp Miller versus Walker. Step forward, please.
17-year-old Lisa Clapp and her mother, Laura Miller, are suing 22-year-old Tim Walker for medical bills. Lisa says during a St. Patrick's Day party, Tim attacked her, breaking her nose.
Lisa, how long have you known Mr. Walker?
I really don't. He was a friend of my boyfriend's friend, and so like I only saw him a few times.
Did you ever have any bad words with him?
No, never.
Do you know Mr. Walker how long you know Miss Clapp?
Yeah, probably about over like a 2-month period. We met each other a couple of times.
You have mutual friends. Is that right?
Yeah. Our mutual friend, like, what do you mean?
What word didn't you understand? Mutual or friend?
Mutual.
You have friends in common.
Yeah, every day.
How old are you?
22.
What do you do?
Brick mason.
You drink?
No, not anymore. I slowed down.
But you did.
Yeah, I did.
Miss Clapp says that you were at a party. Was on St. Patrick's Day?
Yes, ma'am.
She was at a party, and she says that you were really drunk. Are you Irish?
Mm-mm.
What are you?
Polish and Indian.
But you celebrate St. Patrick's Day by drinking.
Well, I've always celebrated St. Patrick's Day.
Good.
But...
And she says that while you were drinking and pretty drunk, you broke her nose. You assaulted her and broke her nose. And Mr. Walker says that drunk or sober, because he acknowledges that he was pretty drunk that day, right, Mr. Walker? He said drunk or sober. He would never hit a woman. He doesn't know why you would, in the world, you would accuse him of that. So why don't you tell me what happened?
Well, we got to the party, my ex-boyfriend and I, and we went in and everyone was drunk. Tim was the drunkest person there. There was like 2 guys there I didn't know, a girl I'd met maybe twice.
I'm not interested in who was at the roster of the party.
Listen.
Just tell me about Mr. Walker, please.
Well, one of the guys that I didn't know, Mr. Walker decided that he wanted to fight him. He threw a couple swings at the guy ducked and said, you know, you're messed up, man, just go to sleep, I'm gonna leave. And the guy left. He was in the driveway. He had kind of just walked off after that, and everyone else had gone into the garage. And he was still in the driveway, and it was pretty dark, and so nobody really knew where he was. And we were all sitting in the garage, and like I'm sitting there for about 10 minutes or so, and he just came up out of the garage and started hitting me in the back of the head, in the face.
You have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
They would not give me the photographs.
Were you arrested?
Mm-mm,
Were
never.
you questioned?
Yes, I was.
Did you say you wanted to pursue these charges?
Yes, I did.
I'm amazed that he wasn't arrested. Why wasn't he arrested?
I don't know.
I don't understand why I would do something like this, because I've watched my mom when I was younger get beat by boyfriends. I was raised to respect women. I don't understand. I mean,
drunk. She is not psychotic. When somebody is assaulted, unless they're psychotic, they want the person who assaulted them either to be punished and or to pay for their injuries. They don't pick somebody that didn't assault them.
no, I just no, I didn't do it.
Yeah, you did. You know how you did it? You did it because you'd had too much to drink and you were acting like an idiot.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Well,
doing
that's the
it, so.
problem when you drink too much, sir. You don't remember. How did you get to the party that night?
I actually lived with the guy that was throwing the party.
Do you remember waking up the next morning?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember going to sleep that night?
No, I don't.
Do you remember where you slept that night?
Yes, I do.
Where?
At a buddy's house.
How far away?
Like across the street, another neighborhood.
Some distance away from your regular home.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you get there?
Another buddy drove me.
Why?
Because I don't know, apparently I walked off or something, I don't know.
You have hospital bills, please.
Yes.
That's what I was told. So.
That's what?
I said that's what I was told.
What do you
by
mean
other
that's
friends.
what you were told?
When I woke up next morning, my friends told me that this is what I did, and I didn't remember it, so...
You didn't remember getting to your friend's house?
No, I did not.
That's what happens when you drink too much. And you hurt her. You broke her nose. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Boone, you claim that Mr. Hibbert owes you for a series of loans that you made to him in order to help him relocate to another city. In addition, he stored his car or truck or SUV in your home, and you want him to pay storage fees for that. Okay. So you met, and at some point, he asked you out. You went out for dinner, you went out for a movie, you went out for a drink, you went out for something, or did he just initially ask you for money?
No, it was a 3-day period, kind of a whirlwind romance, if you would. The way he got to my house was by telling me that he was interested in buying one of my cars that I had for sale, that he wanted to come see it. He also said he was a licensed mechanic and could check out this car I was test driving. He tried to get me to go out with him that night.
You're talking too fast.
Okay.
I'm not interested in the social aspect,
Okay,
madam.
right.
I'm interested. You met him on January 6th. When for the first time did he ask you for money?
3 days later, he informed me that the next day he would be moving to the state of Georgia to go to seminary. He said he needed money to get to seminary, that it was a big move, it was a long way away. And I asked him how much. He said $2,000 or $3,000. So I told him that I would be able to loan him too. Normally, I don't walk around with that kind of cash, but I had just cashed a check from a sale of a business that my family owned.
Had you told him about that?
I had showed him a cashier's check for $17,500 from me to me.
Oh, Miss Boone,
I know.
what a mistake.
Yeah, I learned you don't do that.
How much money did you give him?
I gave him $2,000 in cash that day. The next day he said he...
Your Honor, the fact of the matter is...
Don't tell me what the fact, just tell me about the $2,000.
Miss Boone wanted to get into a relationship with me from day one.
Good. Let's start day one, January 9th. You took $2,000 from her, is that correct?
She gave me the money as a down payment on my vehicle.
Down? No. Oh, shh, shh, shh. Just a second. Just a second. Shh. Just a second. She gave you $2,000 as a down payment on the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
How? Don't say anything, Miss Boone. How much was the total price of the car?
I told her that I was selling the car for $6,500.
I'm going to ask you questions, so you're going to have to be really quick with your answers.
No problem.
Mr. Hibbert,
No
I want to tell you
problem,
something. You think you're smart? Between him and me? Between him and me? You're a kindergartner. I want you to trust me on that. And you don't want to appear foolish here, do you, Mr. Hibbert?
No, Your Honor.
Now, what kind of car was it that you were going to sell her for $6,500?
A 1994 black BMW 325 IS, Your Honor.
Salad-free bill.
Shh! But now, so she gave you $2,000 down payment.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she ever purchase the car?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, Your Honor.
So you never gave her title to the car?
I let her hold the title in good faith. I did not sign the back, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have the title back?
She didn't want to give it to me back, Your Honor.
Do you have the car?
No, Your Honor.
Where's the car?
I sold it, Your Honor.
How much did you sell the car for and to whom?
$5,000, Your Honor.
To whom?
To,
You're making it up as you're going along, Mr. Hibbert.
No, Your Honor, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's to an individual in Atlanta, Georgia that I sold the vehicle to.
Name?
Her name is,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know
He
it.
doesn't get it.
I
Right?
don't know
Right,
it.
Kurt.
You told him.
Right, I told him.
You told him.
I told him. Who are you ministering to, Mr. Hibbert? I want to know who you're ministering to, sir.
Who am I ministering to?
Yes, you're a minister, aren't you?
Yes, Your Honor.
I want to know who you're ministering to.
Currently, no one, Your Honor.
That's a very good thing, Mr. Hibbert. That's very, very good. Because the truth will set you free, Mr.
Amen.
Hibbert.
Yes,
Why
Lord.
didn't you give her back her $2,000?
I called her up and told her I would give her $2,000 back.
Oh, here we go. Good.
She said, I don't owe her $2,000, I owe her $4,300. And she maliciously went to the church that's endorsing me.
I don't care whether she went to a church or not.
And they pulled my endorsement, and that's the reason why I called her.
Oh, just a minute. You mean she went to your church and said he's got my $2,000?
No, that's not all she said, Your Honor. She said that I did sexual misconduct to her. She said that I took her $4,300 from her, and she said that I trespassed on her property.
You're not supposed to take advantage of people, Mr. Hibbert, if you want to be a minister.
I'm not taking advantage of anyone.
Because in January, you should have sent her back her $2,000. In February, you should have sent her back her $2,000. You took her $2,000. Isn't that right?
I loaned him more than that, and it wasn't
Just a second. Listen, did you hear what I said to him?
Yes.
About giving me an upfront?
Yes.
All right. Did you have a discussion with him about buying his BMW?
No, I've always driven hand-me-down Cadillacs that my father would give. I'm a Cadillac person. And I have a 2002 Cadillac that I'm buying right now. Okay. I loaned it to him to move to seminary.
Whether it was a loan or whether it was a down payment on a car that he never came through with, he owes you the $2,000, right?
Your Honor, when you go to a car dealership and you put a down payment on a vehicle and you do not continue to make payments, what happens, Your Honor?
You took the car.
They come and take the car from
No,
you, and
took
you out
the
of your
car.
money.
You took the car
Yes,
to Georgia.
Your Honor, I did, and she knew this up front. She knew that that's what I was doing.
He doesn't owe you anything for storing his car in your carport.
Okay, he said he was going to get it in 1 week. He came back 4 months later to get it.
What I'm telling you is, you could have gotten a tow truck to tow it out, send him a letter, say, if you don't get it out of here in 5 days, I'm getting rid of it. But that kind of favor does not turn into a contract just because you don't want the car. If you don't want the car, they call the garbage man, let him take the car. You don't get storage fees. Do you understand?
I understand what
you're
saying.
Very good. Now, tell me what happened, sir, about this business where you were arrested for trespass.
Once I found out that she went to the church and told the pastor these felonious stories, I then went to North Carolina to get my truck. Now, once I was at the mechanic waiting for my vehicle, the police roll up and arrest me and take me to jail, saying that they have...
Can I see a copy of the complaint?
Yes,
Don't
Your
raise
Honor.
your hand, Miss Boone.
Right here. There's the warrant for arrest, and here's the court where they gave me a not guilty charge on that, Your Honor.
That's not what it was about.
Okay. Date of the offense, it says here, was February 6th, 2005. What happened on February 6th, madam?
We had a big argument. I was telling him to leave. He would not leave. The only way I finally got him out was to say, okay, I'm leaving. We're both going to walk out. And we did.
I'm not getting the trespass, madam.
Okay. They informed me that the magistrate
Don't tell me what the magistrate...
Okay.
I'm asking you, what conduct of Mr. Hibbert's did you complain about to the police?
He was blocking my door, and it was pretty scary at the moment. It was making me anxious.
And then, listen to me, subsequently, the same night, you got back together again.
Yes.
Was there any other conduct by Mr. Hibbert after that, where you told him to leave, he was blocking the door and he didn't leave, that you reported to the police by way of the trespass?
No.
That was it?
Yes.
And when did you report that to the police?
The day that I filed the monetary charges, he was already in custody. And it was May 27th, I think.
Right.
Okay.
It was May 27th. So what you're telling me is you had this argument on February 6th wherein you fought with him because he didn't come back. He was supposed to come back. And he blocked the door, and that was a trespass because you had told him to leave. You ultimately both left together. And then later that night, you reconnected and got together.
Yes.
You didn't report that to the police February 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, the month of February.
Right.
Month of March, you didn't report it to the police. March, April, May, you didn't report it to... You reported to the police 4 months later. That's what you're telling me?
Yes.
You just lost your $2,000. Well, you just lost your $2,000, Miss Boone. I'm going to tell you why. Not because I think he deserves a break, but because when people abuse the justice system, I'm not talking about civil court. Civil court, you take him to. Civil court, he owes you $2,000. You take him to civil court. But when you bring out a detective to take a statement, you took the time of at least one policeman, you took the time of a magistrate, you took the time of a court, you took the time of court officers, clerks to draw up your papers. You took all that time because you felt as if he didn't do the right thing by you. And you were going to get him good.
No.
You weren't just going to get him for the $2,000. You were going to get him good because That's not a trespass, madam.
The magistrate advised me to do it, and it was...
Well, listen to me. That's baloney. That's baloney. I don't believe it. It's hearsay. What you did was vindictive, and I don't care if what you do is vindictive. I mean, you know, vindictive conduct, as far as I'm concerned, somebody who really is an amoral person parading around as a preacher, that you can be as vindictive as you like. But when you abuse the justice system, that's something that I won't tolerate.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
she told me, too bad, I've talked to an attorney and you're not getting any more than that.
She told me she wanted to take her dog to the vet weekly for the next 6 months, and she wanted me to pay for that.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Carolyn Boone says former lover Pepe Hibbert owes for a loan and storage fees. Pepe is countersuing, claiming Carolyn had him falsely arrested for trespassing.
You weren't scared, madam, of him, frightened of what he was going to do between February 6th, when he blocked the door, and later that evening when you got back together. Now, when you say you got back together and reconnected, do you want to tell me what that means, Mr. Hibbert? Does that mean that you went out for dinner together? Does that mean you had a drink together? Does that mean that you were intimate together? What does that mean?
I've never been intimate with this lady.
Okay. What does it mean when you said to me you got back together?
We got a hotel room and stayed there.
Yeah, all right.
Okay,
So what you're telling me is after you got a hotel room together, you decided to tell somebody in the justice system that he trespassed on your property on February 6th.
To her.
All right. Well, I'm not interested in it. You just lost your $2,000. Sir, and you just paid her $2,000 on your counterclaim. Do you understand? That means you get exactly what each of you deserve. Nothing. Goodbye. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's reaching for straws to try to get out of paying me the $4,300 that I loaned him.
I continually told her I wasn't interested in having a relationship with her.
He's trying to get me back. He's saying I ruined his career.
And then when she saw that I was standing strong to not wanting a relationship with her.
But it'll be brought to light, not here in this forum, but ultimately it will be brought to light.
She then decided, okay, let me maliciously try to ruin this man.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Crowther versus Moore. Step forward.
Shelby Crowther is suing her neighbor, 24-year-old Cody Moore, for vet bills. Shelby says Cody's 6-year-old son, Caden, threw her dog in the air and broke his leg.
According to your complaint, Miss Moore's little boy, the 6-year-old, was in your backyard where your dog was playing. He was invited over by your son, who is a couple of years older. How old are you?
8.
Stand up next to your mother. I have a few questions for you. Tell me your name.
My name's Cody.
Cody, do you know this little boy's name?
No.
What's your name?
Caden Moore. He does know my name.
Caden Moore.
Yeah, when we were at daycare.
Caden.
Okay. Is he your neighbor?
Yes.
Remember that day when your dog got injured?
Say yes.
You remember?
Yes.
You have to answer my questions. Were you playing in the backyard?
Yes.
Did you invite him to come over in your backyard? No. Did you offer him a lollipop?
Yes, but I put it through the fence.
Did you offer him a lollipop?
Yes.
And did he take the lollipop?
Yes.
Did he come around in your backyard?
No.
He was never in your backyard?
Yes, but...
How did he get there?
Climbed the fence.
And what happened when he got there?
We started playing for a little, then he picked him up and threw him up in the air and broke his leg.
What did you say to him when he did that?
Nothing.
What did you do?
I picked up Gizmo.
And where did he go?
My mom told him to go back home.
And he did. And you took your dog Gizmo to the doctor?
Correct.
And he had a broken leg?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you want Miss Moore to pay for the vet bills?
Correct.
I'm listening.
I did not become aware of the situation until she had come over to my house to let me know what was going on. I talked to my son, and he said that her son told him that if he'd climb the fence, that he would give him a sucker and they could play.
So he's over in the backyard?
Mm-hmm. And my son did say that he picked up the dog, that her son asked him to put the dog down, and my son did that. However, he did not throw her dog at all.
Well, how do you think the leg got broken?
I believe that he did drop her dog. A dog that weighs 4 pounds has a leg like a toothpick, so I'm sure it did break. That's, okay. I believe that.
So either way, whether he dropped him or threw him.
I offered to pay the bills. I gave her my cell phone number. I asked her to please call me when the dog was done so that I knew what was going on. She's my new neighbor. I just moved in.
So what was the problem?
The problem started when she tried to press criminal charges on my child.
No,
what That's actually in the police report that I have with me. She had told the police a completely fabricated story. The police
Well,
came...
what did you do after the dog? You took the dog to the vet.
After I picked the dog up, went in the house, and immediately went over to her house. My husband held the dog for me. I went over to her house and explained to her what had happened. She told me that's not possible. Her son was in his bedroom unpacking.
No,
I said that is not true. He was just in my backyard, and I told him to go home.
Okay, well, maybe she didn't know that.
We went into the backyard. He wasn't in there, so he was in the garage. And she asked him, and he said yes, he did pick the dog up and drop the dog.
Okay.
And I told her, I said, you're going to be responsible for these vet bills. I said, I don't have the money. She looked at me and said, well, I'm a single mom, so maybe it's best to put the dog to sleep and I will buy you a new one. I immediately looked at her and said, that's not how this works. This is my dog. I mean, he's my baby. We're not going to put him to sleep.
Did you go over there, Miss Crowther, angry?
No, I did not raise my voice at her.
You don't have to raise your voice.
I was upset. I was bawling.
Okay.
I was upset.
Okay. I mean, I can imagine that you were upset, and I can imagine that you were not calm when you spoke to her. You may not have been screaming at her. You may not have been cursing at her. I don't know. But I assume, based upon just the way you phrased it to me today, that you did not go over there in a neighborly-like way.
Right.
Well, that was wrong. This is not something that's done maliciously.
Right.
So then you should have taken it down a notch. Right?
Right.
You owe her an apology.
I'm sorry if I upset you.
You should have taken it down a notch. She didn't do anything.
Right. I didn't become enraged until she told me to put my dog
just a
to
second.
sleep.
Enraged is a relative term. If you went over there and you say, gee, that was just a real bad accident, I think that your little boy was responsible for my dog's broken leg. Right. You know, I'm going to take the dog to the vet. You know, we're going to be able to handle this. That's one way of putting it. Another way of putting it is to go over there with screaming mimis on, you know, because your dog is injured. I got it. But I think, at least with her, you overreacted. She said she'd pay the vet bill. What's the vet bill?
Well, the problem
She
is...
said she'd pay the vet bill. What's the vet bill?
$364.25.
That's a hefty bill for her to pay, but if she said she would pay it, it's her responsibility, and she's going to take care of it. Did you call the police?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was informed that I had to have a police case number in order to file a civil claim in court.
Well, I don't know who's giving you legal advice. Certainly not any reputable person I know. You don't need a police report in order to file a small claims case.
I don't understand if I said I would pay it, why she would have to file a small claims case anyway.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
She was only going to pay the initial bill. She told me she would not pay to have the cast removed. She flat told me, I'm only going to pay the $299. And I says, what about the remaining cost? She told me, too bad, I've talked to an attorney and you're not getting any more than that.
Actually, she told me she wanted to take her dog to the vet weekly for the next 6 months, and she wanted me to pay for that.
The vet required that he come in every week to have the cast looked at so that it didn't get infected or anything happen.
The whole bill was $364.25. Judgment for the plaintiff, $364.25. When you have a new neighbor, you try to handle things reasonably. She seems like a nice lady. Now you're at odds with each other and you share a backyard. That's terrible. And you have two kids who would probably play very nicely together. You know, they're two nice little boys. See if you can go have a cup of coffee together. It would probably be a very good idea. You're going to live there for a long time?
Plan to.
All right, so you got off to a bad start. See if you can make it better.
Okay.
You'll be happier. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are 263 on the calendar in the matter of Brown versus Chance. Parties have been sworn in. Yana, you may be seated. Have a seat.
Miss Brown, you own a building.
Yes, I do.
And one of your buildings had a leak. According to your complaint, you looked in the yellow pages and you found a plumber, the defendant, and asked him to go over and take a look and see what the problem was. So far, is that about right?
That's right.
He went over there and he called you and he told you what he thought the problem was and what it would take to fix it.
That's correct.
You paid him for his service call. You eventually found somebody else to fix the problem, paid him less money. And it is your claim that because Mr. Chance was angry that he didn't get the job, he harassed you in a vindictive way by going over and frightening your tenants, telling them that things were dangerous as a result of the shoddy workmanship that was being done in their building. Now, when did you have a leak in your building?
That was July 17th.
Who had a leak in their apartment?
Terry James.
Step up. Miss James, tell me what happened in your apartment on the 17th of July.
I had a leak by the bedroom window.
Near the bedroom window?
Yeah, down by the floor, by the baseboard.
Had it been raining that day?
Nope. But the lawn man had watered and watered and watered, and he had forgot to leave the water on.
So it was clear water that was coming through?
Yes.
And you called the landlord?
Yes.
All right, is that what brought you to the apartment, Mr. Chance?
No, it's not.
Well, what brought you to the apartment, sir?
Well, Suzanne Brown gave us a call on the 17th, and we went out to the property and did an inspection of the property. When we entered the tenant's unit, we found that the tub was full of sewage. There was about...
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Shh, just a second. The bathtub
The bathtub
was full of sewage.
Was full of sewage.
Is that right?
No, not full of sewage.
Is that right?
That's a lie. That's a lie. There was no sewage in the tub at all. He wasn't even the man that came out. The man that came out, he ain't even here, I guess.
Really?
The man that came out walked around the house, went around to the front, got on the phone and called this man.
Did he come at that point?
No, he didn't. He never showed up. He
Not that day?
No.
Is that right, sir?
I was there on the 17th of July. I did not go in her unit. But
Just a minute. So you didn't go into her unit?
I did not.
So you didn't see anything in her unit on the 17th of July?
I saw sewage all around the perimeter of the outside of the building.
You did not go into her unit on the 17th?
I did not.
Good. Do you have a copy of the receipt that you got?
Yes, I do.
From his company?
He sent that to me.
Okay. They say that in the front unit, they have water standing in the tub. Someone has inserted the word sewer water standing in the tub in this. This is the way you received it?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, when did you call somebody else? On what date?
I had actually called, there's a plumber that I always use. I had actually called him. The problem was that when I found out about the leak, it was a Sunday, and he wasn't available, and I wasn't sure how big it was, and I wanted to fix the issue.
Is this your regular plumber?
Yes.
Sit down. Step up, sir. Tell me your name.
My name's Mike Howard.
How long have you been working for the plaintiff?
Oh, probably since about '02.
You familiar with this unit?
Yes.
When did you go out to the unit?
The day after, the Monday.
Tell me what you found when you went out there on the 18th of July.
The water from the sprinklers had went over the foundation and entered the home.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Where had it entered the home?
It had came up over the foundation and ran into the area that was wet.
Carpeting wet?
Yes.
Around the baseboards?
Yes.
Did you find anything else wrong with the house?
The bathtub had about, I'd say about 1.5 inches of water in it that just wouldn't drain.
So the water that was standing in the tub was water that had been standing there because of a clogged drain?
Correct.
What did you use to clean out the drain?
Snake.
How much did you charge the plaintiff to do the whole job?
$2,500.
What did you charge her the $2,500 for?
We dug a place approximately 2 foot wide around the perimeter of the home. It was 90 foot long, and we poured concrete in there.
And what was that supposed to do?
It stopped the water from entering the home at the foundation.
You mean from the sprinkler system?
It was just a hose, but yeah.
What was the estimate that the defendant gave you to fix the problem?
The defendant told me it would be $45,000 for him to come in and dig out the entire concrete floor, and that my tenants would have to evacuate the premises. And the problem was that nobody had actually done any tests. The defendant never actually did any tests. All they did was walk the perimeter of the property, and actually he didn't even do that. He had someone else do that, and came to the conclusion that it would be $45,000, that I needed to call my insurance company and make sure that I had him there, because the insurance company might not believe me, and that all three of us could meet and he could convince them that this is what needed to be done and get them to pay for it.
Now, after you decided not to hire him and you decided to hire Mr. Howard?
Correct.
Tell me what you claim he did to harass you and your tenants.
Well, on that Monday, when he had gone out and he had started working on it, when I came back that night, I had received numerous calls from Terry James, and I had 2 messages from Tony Chance. The first one said, I tried to run your credit card for the $69 service charge, and either you gave me the wrong number or I wrote it down wrong, and you really need to give me a call as soon as possible, otherwise we're going to have problems. The second message I got said that, I still haven't heard from you. You must be avoiding me. And by the way, I happened to go out to the property today, and I saw that you had some repairs going on there. And I just want to let you know that that was a really bad move on your part, and that now I'm going to have to contact the Sacramento Housing Authority and let them know what's going on over there. I'm going to put a full written report together to turn you in. And so to me, it was obviously, he was vindictive. I couldn't believe the message that I got. I was completely freaked out, and Terry said that he had been by there.
Don't.
Okay.
Step up. You could sit down. Did Mr. Chance come back to the house?
Yes, he came back on Monday.
He spoke to you?
Yes, he did.
What did he say to you?
Oh, my God. What is this? You mean to tell me they put concrete around the house? The sewage problem is not done. The pipes is busted. You guys are going to die. You guys need to get out right now. You guys should vacate the place. You guys mean to tell me you're not out of there? And then he came back on Tuesday and scared my son. Had my son all upset. Talking about we should have been out of there. We gonna die. We go to sleep. We gonna die. We should have been moved out of there.
Okay. Since July 18th or 19th, have you had any other problems in your home?
No, I haven't.
Any other water?
Nothing's wrong.
Are you friendly with the other tenants?
Yes, I am. Very friendly.
Anybody else have any water problems that you know of?
Nobody has any problems on the property.
I guess you were wrong.
I don't think so, Your Honor.
I guess you were wrong.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So I'm asking you, what tests did you personally do? Make sure you give me an answer that I'm going to be comfortable with, Mr. Chance.
And later today.
And it never dawned on you to take the rest of the money and give it back to them.
They didn't ask for it back.
Insurance isn't supposed to make you rich, madam.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Landlord Suzanne Brown says plumber Anthony Chance harassed her and her tenants after she refused his professional services.
Did you write a report to any housing authority with regard to what you found?
No, I did not.
Ms. Brown says that that's what you threatened to do. Is that what you threatened to do, Mr. Chance?
I never threatened to do anything.
Did you indicate that that's what you were going to do?
No, I did not.
What did you say?
I said specifically that I had already called the health department due to the fact that there was still a dangerous issue out at her property.
When had you called the health department?
I called them Monday night when I drove by the property and saw that concrete had been poured over the top of the sewage on the outside of the building.
Mr. Chance, but you were wrong, sir, because we've had 5 months since you were there. And no problem.
They've taken care of the symptoms, but the problem still exists. And the problem with the property that they have there is the drains underneath the footing were leaking substantially and had been that way for a long time.
What tests did you do, specifically, what tests did you do on the 17th when you were there to test that?
I've got phone records with me showing that I was on my phone with my service tech who was on the job.
What tests did you do? Not your technician. If you call the health department, I would say that you don't rely on a technician. You go out there yourself before you make the call.
I did.
The very next day. So I'm asking you, what tests did you personally do? Make sure you give me an answer that I'm going to be comfortable with, Mr. Chance.
I personally didn't do any tests.
That's what I thought. Now, did you ever give Miss Brown a quote of $45,000 to fix the problem?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Did you ever say to Miss Brown that she should contact her insurance company?
I may have mentioned that, yes.
And that you should be there when the insurance company adjuster comes to look at the problem?
I advised her that that would be a good idea.
And are you telling me that you didn't give her a ballpark figure about what the problem would cost to rectify?
No, I didn't, Your Honor. I told her we needed to do tests to determine where the problem was at.
Oh, so if you're telling her you needed to do tests to determine where the problem was, why did you call the health department?
Well, we knew that there was a problem. We didn't know which bathroom was leaking or where the problem was at underneath the slab because the whole area underneath the house was saturated with sewage.
What made you think, sir, that the whole area under the house was saturated with sewage?
Because my technician went into the other unit, the back unit, and ran a sink for 20 minutes, and the water proceeded to come up in the carpets in the front bedroom of the front unit, which indicates a backed up sewer main.
And you think that that just happened once, sir?
I went by the job on Sunday night.
Yeah?
Because Suzanne had agreed to meet me there Sunday night.
Yeah?
And I was sitting in front of the property. I did not go in either of the units, but I saw the sewage around the perimeter of the building. I sat there for maybe 5 minutes, and then Suzanne called me and said, "I'm sorry, but something's come up. I can't meet you. I'll have to do it on Monday." So I left the property, but at that point, I was able to witness the wet sewage all the way around the outside footing, and it definitely was.
What made you think it was wet sewage, sir?
Based on the description that my technician gave me while he was in the home.
Mr. Chance, you want to know what I think, sir?
What?
I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that you were really annoyed with Miss Brown because she decided not to use you to fix this major problem and did you out of a really expensive job. Because he came out and said he ran a snake in the tub, the water went down, and she's had no more problems. 5 months later, your technician came out and did zippo. Nothing. Left the standing water in the bathtub and did nothing. What you did was you decided this was a big job. The entire foundation of this house had to be ripped up. Call your insurance company and let them know. All has to be redone. And then somebody else came and did it, and you were annoyed. And you didn't call the health department until after you were advised that she had gotten somebody else to fix what she perceived to be the problem, or what she was told by a professional was the problem. That's vindictive, sir. What else?
I actually ended up filing a police report against him because I became scared. It's like he turned into this psycho plumber. And
he was just annoyed. It was a $45,000 job that went out the window because you got somebody with a snake to fix the problem.
Judy, could I have some evidence?
My friends call me by my first name. Now, what I don't understand, Mr. Chance, is I absolutely believe Mr. Howard when he says he went to the premises the next day, took a snake, put it in the bathtub, snaked out the bathtub, the water went down, and I absolutely believe Miss Jones when she says she has not had a problem since. What I don't understand is how come your technician went into the house, saw standing water, and didn't take a snake to try to get it to go down, yet went into another unit, a unit that they had not called to complain about, let the water run in that unit to come up with a story, instead of doing the first thing that I would do as a plumber and say, gee, I see this standing water. Let me see if I can get it to go down. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, Mr. Chance?
I understand.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all. You did the wrong thing. It's going to cost you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
it was a lie. The whole thing about the health department, he never called anybody because he knew he'd never done any tests.
I think that they tried to hide the real problem so that the health department wouldn't come out and create any problems with having to really repair the broken pipes underneath the slab.
I had spent $2,500 having the problem fixed. Obviously, I'm not a slumlord.
I'm positive that's what the problem was because that's what I saw.
I'm just happy. Very, very happy. Justice does be served.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Freshley versus Velasquez. Step forward.
22-year-old Amy Freshley is suing former friend Herman Velasquez for rental car charges and for damages to the vehicle. Herman claims he owes Amy nothing.
Miss Freshley, you had an automobile accident.
Yes.
You knew the defendant, who was a mechanic, and you entered into an agreement with him that he would fix your car.
Right.
And according to you, your agreement was that the car would be ready in a week or 5 days. If it went over that, he was going to compensate you for the rental car.
Exactly.
Now, the car wasn't ready on time. He was supposed to pay for the additional days.
Right.
In addition to that, it is your claim that he took the rental car.
Exactly.
Which, for some reason, you left at his shop, drove it, and caused damage to it, and you were being charged by Enterprise Rental Car for the damage that you ascribed to him.
Exactly.
Okay. The car you were in an accident with was a 95 Tahoe?
Yes.
Is that your car?
Yes.
Alone?
Me and my boyfriend's car.
Who purchased it?
We both did.
You have insurance?
Yes.
Did the insurance pay for the accident?
Yes.
How much?
$4,045.
Who did they pay that to?
Paid it to me and my boyfriend.
Did you take the money?
I took the money and paid Herman $2,800.
They paid you $4,000 for something that he fixed for $2,800?
Yep.
And it never dawned on you to take the rest of the money and give it back to them?
They didn't ask for it back. They said they wouldn't pay for the rental, so I figured I'd use also some of that for a rental because I wouldn't have a car for a week.
Okay. So let us say he took the car, which you acknowledge. He took the car.
Yeah.
Don't acknowledge that you had an accident with it or that you damaged it.
No.
But you acknowledge you took it.
Yeah.
So let's say $2,800 is what he charged you for the car.
Yes.
Plus you say that he should be responsible for another $340 for the additional days that the car was rented
Yes.
when he didn't have it fixed on time.
Yes.
Right? Plus $340. Plus $701 for damage to the car.
Yes.
That's $3,841. Did you have any other expenses by virtue of this accident that you had?
No.
Well, my calculations are that you're still ahead $200 from what you scammed out of the insurance company. You expect me to give you more money? What are you looking at me? Am I speaking some sort of a foreign language?
No, I just expected to be paid for a car that I rented, and he said he'd pay for the extra week.
You didn't pay for the extra week. Your insurance company did. Think of it this way. On what date did you have the accident? March 29th?
Yes.
March 29th. On March 29th, you started off with a car that was in good running order.
Yes.
Right? And zero in the bank. On April 15th, you had $4,045 in the bank from the insurance company.
Yes.
2 weeks later, you had your car back. You had rented a car, and you still have an extra $200 in your bank. Now, what you want me to do is give you the extra $200, plus you want him to pay you $1,100.
Yes, I will.
That means that at the end of this accident, you have your car.
It doesn't
and an
matter
extra $1,300. Insurance isn't supposed to make you rich, madam. It is supposed to compensate you for your damage.
But that wasn't the deal when I had rented.
The deal that you entered into with your insurance company is to be an honest insured. I'm speaking. The deal that you entered into with your insurance company is that if you had an accident, they were going to compensate you for the reasonable cost of having your car fixed. And the reasonable cost of you having your car fixed was $2,800.
That's because he told me that's how much it was going to cost.
So why didn't you tell that to the insurance company?
I did. He actually wrote up something higher than what he was going to charge me.
And did you tell the insurance company that he did
No.
that? Let me tell you all about the doctrine of clean hands. The doctrine of clean hands is something that we learned very early on in law school. It says that when a citizen comes into court and asks the court to hear their case, they can't come in with dirty hands, which means they can't come in being wrong, scamming somebody and saying, well, he's a worse scammer than I am. Why won't you help me? What he did was worse. I had a deal with him. We had a deal that he was going to jack up the cost of fixing the car. He was going to have the adjuster come to his place and say it needs this and this and this and this and this. And he was going to get $2,800 to fix it, and I was going to end up pocketing the rest, which was $1,000 or whatever. And the only one that was going to be out is the insurance company, and they got plenty of money anyway. So, madam, you get from me nothing. Zippo, nada, except a lesson in morality. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. Campbell.
Thank you, Bertie.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
All right, Miss Fennell, this is your old boyfriend.
Correct.
This is, according to your complaint, probably Carlos.
That's Carlos, correct.
New boyfriend.
Old boyfriend also.
Old boyfriend.
Correct.
You don't stand still too long. Who is this?
This is my fiance, Tiffany.
She's just here for moral support?
Mm-hmm.
Because she brought the old boyfriend, you brought the Tiffany.
Right.
Got it. Ms. Fennell, according to your complaint, this gentleman, with whom you had a relationship for a while, became annoyed when he found out that you were with Carlos, and he vandalized your car. Mr. Campbell says he was, in fact, annoyed, but he didn't do any damage to your car. When were you and Mr. Campbell involved in a relationship?
We started, actually, I met him June of 2003.
When did you and Mr. Campbell terminate your relationship?
November of 2003.
And when did this incident happen with your car?
In March of 2004.
Well, tell me what happened in March of 2004.
Carlos had come to visit me at Ohio University.
Carlos?
Carlos had come to visit
How long had you been dating Carlos?
I started dating him in December of 2003, very soon after ending the relationship with Clifton. So he had come to visit me at the university, and we just come in from a movie. It may have been about 1:30 in the morning. This is March 13th. I heard this banging on my door, and so, you know, it was kind of unusual.
Were you in a dorm room?
Yes, I am in a dorm room, or I was then. And so it's 2 o'clock in the morning, so, you know, I'm not expecting anybody. So I go to the peephole, and I see that it's him. Like, we've had history in our relationships of just different violence and him threatening me and stuff like that. And so prior to him coming, he had been trying to call me, and I wasn't answering the phone. So he had been leaving messages on my voicemail, just threatening.
I mean, he just decided to come out of the blue? He hadn't been in touch with him, really? Since November of 2003, all of a sudden in March of 2004, he shows up?
We've been in contact sporadically, not very much. He was just calling. We kept in contact via email.
But you hadn't been dating?
We hadn't been dating.
Anyway, he comes, it's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, bangs at the door. You don't answer the door. What happens next?
Carlos is there. Carlos wants to answer the door, and he and Cliff had just a few words. It wasn't a big episode like I thought it would be. And afterwards, he walked.
Did you say anything to Mr. Campbell?
No, I didn't.
Okay. What happened next?
Once he left the dorm room, I went to my dorm window because I know what he's capable of. And so when I looked out the window, I saw him kicking my car and walking away.
Did you call the police?
I did.
That same day?
That same evening.
Do you have a police report?
I do.
I see it, please.
There's some pictures.
kind of sneakers are you wearing?
Lugs.
Lugs?
Yes.
Is that who makes them, Lugs?
Yes.
Is that what you usually wear?
Yes.
Huh. All right, Mr. Campbell, let me hear what you have to say, sir.
For one, we were not just boyfriend, girlfriend. That was my fiance. We had got engaged on March 9th.
Tell me about that, Mr. Campbell.
Well, basically, I had came to Ohio University on March 9th, I remember, because that's my little brother's birthday. I had proposed to Tamar. She had said yes.
Did you give her a ring?
Yes.
Does she still have the ring, or did you take it back?
No, I didn't take it back. I'm not sure if she still has it or not.
What kind of ring did you buy her?
Gold ring with, like, I don't know how many carats, the diamonds in it.
How much did you pay for it?
It was like $1,700.
And you didn't ask for it back?
No.
Did he give you a ring?
He gave me a ring, but...
When?
I don't believe it was March 9th. I think it was the week before then, the last week in February. He did give me a ring.
So that you were still not only communicating with Mr. Campbell on the internet by email, but just a few weeks before, you had actually seen him.
We weren't seeing each other.
You had actually seen him, I said.
I had seen him, yes.
How long did you stay when you came to visit her, Mr. Campbell?
I had spent the night with her March 9th, and I left on March 10th.
So when you came back on March 13th, because she wasn't answering her phone, and
Well, she did answer the phone.
Oh, she did?
One time.
And what did she say?
I heard a guy in the back, which I presume was probably whatever his name is.
Carlos.
Carlos. She just wasn't acting herself. Normally, she's real uppity and giddy when we're talking on the phone. And it sounded like she was trying to hide something and was rushing me off the phone.
So you became suspicious. And you got in the car, and how long a drive is it to the school?
It's about 3.5 to 4 hours.
And while you were driving, did you try to call her again?
Yes.
How many times?
Probably 4 or 5.
So by the time you got there, you were really pretty annoyed.
I was...
Just so far you've been honest with me. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So far you've been together,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been honest.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That doesn't mean you're going to get away with denting her car. I want you to trust me on this, Mr. Campbell. But I like the fact that you've been honest. So
Right.
I'm not going to stomp on your head. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Very good. Now, second ex-boyfriend answers the door, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
What do you do?
First, I'm just dumbfounded. It's like, this is my fiance, and this dude is answering the door trying to look like he was all tough or something.
So what do you think was going on there? You think he was delivering a vacuum cleaner?
Not at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I know you're a telemarketer, but only I get the last word. You know the people that say, goodbye, don't call me again? That's me.
And later today,
Listen to me. You cannot unilaterally modify a contract. You know what that means? No.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tamara Fennell claims ex-fiancé Clifton Campbell kicked her car after discovering she had a new boyfriend. Clifton is denying the charge.
So what did you do?
Well, basically, me and him had a few words, and then I was just like, F it, y'all can have each other, and I left.
But when you left, you kicked her car.
No, I didn't.
Well, maybe you were just so angry you don't remember, Mr.
No,
Campbell.
maybe he was also angry.
He was.
That was her
No.
boyfriend?
No. You know why, sir? Because the two of them called the police together immediately after you left. And the police went downstairs and looked at her car, which was very dirty. But the one thing that they did find were fresh sneaker prints on the car. Reeboks and dents where the footprint went into the door. Now, quite frankly, I can understand you being really annoyed. She clearly doesn't make up her mind well, but she's entitled to do that. She's entitled to play the field if she wants to. Not entitled to going around breaking people's hearts. That's really unkind.
I would like to explain if I can.
Go ahead.
Okay. One thing that he did say was that was my boyfriend, and Cliff was aware that Carlos and I were dating.
She told me it was some dumb dude she get money from. That's all she told me about
Oh,
him.
no, I never
Just a
said
second.
that.
Okay. So?
When we broke up, it was on these crazy terms. I had been through just a lot of things with him, as far as him threatening my life, different situations where he like held me at knife point, just a lot of violent situations where I felt like if I was going to ever have a situation that was going to be calm with Cliff, I pretty much had to tell him what he wanted to hear.
She's lying.
She's lying, Mr. Campbell. She's lying because she didn't tell me all of this stuff when it was her turn. And she says a lot of things in here, that she witnessed you stab somebody during spring break. She witnessed you burn down somebody's home, which is why she knew that you were violent and she wasn't going to subject herself to that. She didn't play it nicely.
I don't think I would be out right now if I stabbed somebody and burned down their home.
Listen to me. Mr. Campbell, I think that you were pretty fortunate that you have a new fiancé. You get along pretty well together?
We get along great.
What do you do for a living, sir?
Right now, telemarketing.
Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
You planning on getting married?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. Miss Fennell, what year car do you have?
A 94.
1994 what?
Honda Accord EX.
And did you get an estimate on taking out the dents?
I did.
Let me take a look at the picture. I see a dent near a door. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can pull out the dents in that car. The paint isn't off.
The paint's off.
Car's 10 years old. Is it just off in that spot?
Excuse me, Judge.
It's only in that spot.
She told me one night around Christmas that she had got drunk and got in a wreck and dented her car up.
Listen to me. The police noted the damage on March 13th, sir. I'm not believing her. I'm saying the police noted the damage.
I understand that.
Oh,
but if she
good.
was messing with two different guys at the time, how do I know it was in the third or a fourth that got off and did that
Just
to
a
her
second.
car?
You don't have to. Only I have to know, Mr. Campbell. And there may have been somebody else that gave her car a good clop. But so did you, on your way out.
No, I didn't.
I'm telling you that I believe that you did. You had the opportunity, you
didn't.
had the inclination, and you certainly, Mr. Campbell, had the motive.
But I didn't.
Don't say it again. There's only one person who gets the last word, and that's me. Do you understand? Only me. I know you're a telemarketer, but only I get the last word. You know the people that say, goodbye, don't call me again? That's me.
Tamara Fennell claims ex-fiancé Clifton Campbell kicked her car after discovering she had a new boyfriend. Clifton is denying the charge.
You get a ding doctor to pull out the dings that he did on your now almost 12-year-old car. Not for $1,700, which is more than the car is worth, but for $500. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all. Don't play with people's hearts, Miss Fennell. Sometimes you're going to get burned. This time it was just your car. Next time it may be another part of you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I believe it was when she heard that I was engaged to a new female. She just went on ahead and decided to try her best to do something to get back at me.
Oh, no. He wasn't even with anybody else at that time. Like he said, he had just proposed to me. So, no, I wasn't upset at all.
I wouldn't mind getting the ring back. That's a lot of money.
He told me to pawn it. It definitely wasn't a $1,700 ring. I think it was something that he might have stole from his grandmother's jewelry box.
I believe she played games to the fullest.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lampa versus Fout. Step forward.
23-year-old Mindy Lampa is suing her former friend, 23-year-old Gary Fout, for an unpaid loan. Mindy claims Gary promised to repay the loan with his tax refund, but never did.
Miss Lampa, Mr. Fout was a friend of yours, and according to what I've read, you've known him for about 4 years.
Correct.
Are you an accountant by trade?
No.
But you do your own income tax and you do income tax for other people?
Correct.
This past year, Mr. Fout asked you to do his taxes, according to your complaint.
Correct.
And you agreed for a small fee.
Right.
So far, are we correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were entitled to a refund?
Yes, ma'am.
Of how much, sir?
$28.60 or something like that.
Is that right?
$28.81.
And you wanted that refund right away?
Yeah.
And what did you tell him, Miss Lampa?
I told him that if he agreed to give me the refund, give me the money back once the refund was posted, that I would give him the loan as long as he agreed to it. He said he would, so I wrote him the check.
So far, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you do his taxes?
February 13th, the week of the February 13th.
And when did you give him the check?
I wrote him the check on February 16th.
And when did you cash the check, Mr. Fout?
It was deposited maybe this next day.
Yeah. You did get the refund back?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't give her the money?
No.
And the reason that you didn't give her the money is because, A, you say that she told your mother, and she shouldn't have done that.
Correct.
And B, she doesn't need the money anyway. Shh. Please.
That wasn't the case, no.
Well, that's what you say in your answer.
Well, the reason was she had started calling me about a week.
Just a second. I just want to make sure I had both of your reasons, both of your defenses.
Okay.
One, you say that the plaintiff told your mother.
Correct.
And the second thing was, I don't know why she is so hard up for this money. She lives expense-free with my father-in-law.
Correct.
So, my first question is, how do you know this idiot?
He used to be a coworker with me.
Okay. You got 10 seconds to explain to me why she isn't entitled to this judgment.
She called me about a week after she gave me the check, saying, I want the money, I want the money. I hadn't had the refund yet.
When did you get the refund?
It was about...
That's very easy to figure out, sir.
It was 7 or 8 weeks afterwards, I believe.
I do have a copy of the
I'd like
status.
to see it.
It was posted about 6 weeks after.
March 11th. So, it's February 17th. So it was less than a month later that you got the check. I'm speaking.
Sorry.
It was less than a month later.
Okay.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you got the check, March 11th, why didn't you give her the money?
She had called me about a week after she gave me the check, her check, saying, I need it. Told her it hadn't deposited yet. She said she was going to call my mother and tell her to give it to her, and then I would pay her back. I told her, I said, if you call my mother, I'm not paying you, period. I don't want my mother involved. This is between me and you. In the story. If you call her, I'm not paying.
You can't make... Listen to me. You cannot unilaterally modify a contract. You know what that means? No. Didn't think you did. You can't say to her, if you do thus and such, I'm not going to pay you back unless she agrees to it.
She did agree.
Now, she agreed.
Yes,
Just a second. Are you telling me, Mr. Fout, that when you said to her, if you call my mother, I'm not going to pay you back, she said to you, fine. If I call your mother, you won't have to pay me back? Is that what you're telling me?
Not in that many words. What she said was, that's fine, then I will not call her.
I never said that.
She did, created problems with me and my mother.
That's too bad.
Well, the problem was, it was...
Your Honor, I waited a week.
You know, in her world, her adopted father is her everything, and he jumps when she tells her to. My mother and me don't do that, and I did not want her to cause problems between me and my mother, which she did, when I only see my mother maybe every 2 weeks. Cause problems because she had to run like a child and tell her.
Mr. Fout, there's only one child in this room. Unfortunately, I have a sense that this young lady, who's your girlfriend, right?
Wife.
After 6 months of dating.
Shh. Relax.
Excuse you.
Don't speak to her. Baby. You want to speak to her? You speak to her outside when you're handing her your check. But in here, you only talk to me.
Yes, ma'am.
One child in here, and that's a child that doesn't pay their debts. Somebody who is a friend of yours. A friend of yours.
We weren't friends at the time.
Listen to me, Mr. Fout.
Yes, ma'am.
If you weren't friendly with her at the time, why do you think a stranger would say to you, you want your money now so that you can have instant gratification? I'll give you the money, interest-free, because I have so much money, it's not going to make any difference to me. Do you know anybody like that?
No.
No, of course not. I mean, did you actually think you were going to come here today and walk away unscathed? Well, no. You acted like a child.
No, the problem
She chose to marry a child. That's her problem.
No,
when you owe somebody money, when you make a contract, you pay your bills, Mr. Fout.
And then
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,881.
Case number 217 on the calendar, the matter of Tyler versus Cantrell. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Tyler, the defendant is your daughter, and it is your claim that she had you falsely arrested for stealing her car. Your daughter says that you did exercise control over that car without her permission. She had every right to notify the police that you had, in fact, taken the car without permission. So let me start with you, Miss Cantrell. I understand that you are married.
Yes, ma'am.
Your husband is in the armed services.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is he currently located?
He's in Afghanistan.
And how long has he been there?
He's been deployed since October.
This car was originally purchased for him.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me how it came about that your father got the car in his possession.
The car was on my grandmother's property, and he took it because he was angry that my mom had left him.
Where did you get the car from, Mr. Tyler?
Judge, I originally bought the car in Cleveland, Alabama at a car auction.
What do you mean you bought the car?
I was there to buy some cars, and my ex-wife had called her, and she came over to the auction. And she seen the car, and she said, I'd like to have this for Kevin, her husband.
Who paid for the car?
She did.
So then she
wrote a
bought the
check.
car.
She
You
wrote-
didn't pay for the car.
No, she
Well,
wrote
you
a
said,
check.
I bought the car
Well,
at an auction.
I
You
meant,
didn't-
Judge, that I was there to buy the car, and she wanted it, so I let her have it. That's how
You were at an auction to buy several cars. Your daughter
Yes.
came with you. She saw a car that she wanted. She wrote out the check for it. So she bought the car.
Right.
Don't play
Right.
with me, Mr. Tyler.
Okay, I'm not, Judge.
I guarantee you
Okay.
it's not going to happen. Okay, so your daughter bought a car, and according to her, she parked it at her grandmother's house.
No, Judge.
Where was it?
It was in my yard.
So it was in the yard of the house where you were living.
Uh-huh.
Who were you living there with?
My ex-wife.
Anybody else?
My cousin.
What's the address of this house?
77, Highway 75.
And is that where the car was taken from?
No, ma'am.
Where was it taken from?
71, Highway 75.
That's where your grandmother lives?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you live next door to your mother-in-law?
That's my mother, Judge.
Or your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Was the car parked at her house at any time?
No, Judge.
Okay. How did it come about that you took control over this car?
When the car was bought, it was to be brought to my house to fix for Kevin. And at the time, Judge, they were going to pay for it to be fixed. And Kevin had gotten hurt and come home. And Kevin asked me when he was home if I would keep the car at my house until he came back and fix what it needed, and when I get home, I'll pay you for it.
Okay.
So we had a windshield put in it. When you walk out my back door, it was sitting right there with a car cover on it. Then, Judge, when my ex-wife left...
Okay, so you separated.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
It's a long story behind it. Anyway,
let's put it
when that-
simply. Ultimately, she wanted the car.
to give to her mom, because I wouldn't let her mom
Just a
have
second.
one.
In whose name was the car titled?
Mine.
Yours.
And my husband's.
So she said, I want the car. I'm going to give it to Mama.
Yes.
So what did you do?
I had told her prior to this that me and Sammy was going to fix the car. He told me, he said, if you'll pay for the parts, I'll do the labor, and when Kevin comes home, we'll give it to him. And, Judge, that's what I had in mind doing.
I don't care what you had in mind,
and
sir.
she-
I don't care what you had in mind. I got the gist of it. You and her mother separated, and she said, I want the car to give to Mama.
Right.
I assume that's because her mother didn't have a car.
Right. And
Okay, and you said no.
and not unless you pay me.
Okay, so now you want to be paid before Kevin came back from Afghanistan.
Well, if she was going to take it. Okay.
You had made an arrangement with Kevin that he would pay you for the parts when he came back from Afghanistan.
Yes, ma'am.
That was your contract.
Yes, ma'am.
So now you're changing the contract because now you want to get paid right away.
Well, the car was to stay there, Judge, till he came home.
No, it can go anywhere that the owner says it can go.
But he told me to keep it there
But
until
then you spoke to him again and he said to give it to her.
No, he called on the phone, Judge.
I said you spoke to him again and he said to give it to my wife.
If she pays.
No.
Yeah.
He said give it to my wife.
If she pays the labor to Sammy, not the parts, but just the labor.
Labor to Sammy has nothing to do with you.
Right.
What did you do with the car?
Well, a couple of days there, the car winded up. You could tell where it had tried to be broken into. Not for sure who done it. We took it and put it in storage.
Not we. You.
Well, me and my cousin. He had done the labor on it, Judge, and I'd paid for the parts.
Did you tell her where it was?
Yes, I told her I'd put it in storage, and when she paid us, she could get it. There was a labor lien against it. And she wanted proof of it, Judge, so I sent her proof of it.
Let me see what you mailed her.
And may I speak, Judge?
No, now it's her turn.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When they sent this letter, they did send the letter, but it was not sent until after the investigator had called and spoke with him about my car.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. I have the report. And
Can I
also-
see the report,
Yes,
please? That's interesting, because you send her this ridiculous note that says, I have in my possession a Pontiac Firebird, and there is a $10 storage fee on it. And then you change the amount of repair bill. It looks like you put first it was $1,300, then it was $700. I don't know. Can't figure this out. And you say if you don't respond within 90 days, the car will be sold at public auction. Now this, I don't know what date this is, but she signed for it on May 23rd, because you allegedly sent this by certified mail. But she filed this incident report on the 16th of May, which is before you sent this letter to her. So the police contacted you. Put your hand down. Police contacted you and said, where's the car?
Probably.
Or they contacted Sammy.
No, they come out and contacted me.
Oh, there you go. And then you sent her this letter.
Judge, the officer, the day he came out, he wanted a copy of that letter. The day the officer come out and talked.
It's absolutely impossible, sir, because you dated this letter May 17th. That was the next day after the officer took this complaint.
Judge, he didn't come out the day he took the complaint.
I don't care whether he came out and took the complaint on that day or not. It doesn't make any difference, sir.
Okay.
What I'm telling you is, I got the whole story. You know what the whole story is? You were mad at your ex-wife.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't want her to have a car. Don't shake your head no to me. You were angry, and you didn't want her to have a car. And you had worked on this car, and when your daughter said, I'm going to give this car to Mama to use because you're not giving her a car, you said, over my dead body, because I put money in that car, and I was going to give it to Kevin, but I won't give it to the woman who I've lived with for the last, I don't know how many years, 30 years?
24, Judge.
24, and raised a bunch of children with how many children?
4.
4 children. I'm not going to give it to her because I don't like her. I like this stranger, now husband of my child, and I'd give him for nothing, but I'm not giving it to my ex-wife because who the hell does she think she is throwing me out?
You're right.
Well, that's too damn bad. You had no right. That's too bad, Mr. Tyler.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Uncross your hands. Your wife may have taken your attitude for 24 years. I don't. What I'm telling you is you didn't do it because you put a mechanic's lien on it. You did it because you were PO'd at your wife.
And later today,
I needed some money to put down. She gave us the money.
I didn't give the money.
Okay, just a second. Why would you choose to pay back your in-laws and not your mother?
Because it's my mother.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Billy Tyler says his daughter, Tiffany Cantrell, had him falsely arrested for stealing her car.
Mr. Tyler?
She took it all and gave it to a man one time. She ain't going to do it again.
Listen to me, Mr. Tyler. I don't know the reason, after 24 years and raising 4 children with somebody, that they say, I don't want to live with him anymore. I'm not going back over that. I don't know whether you were a good husband, whether you were not a good husband, whether you were a kind person to her, whether she was a kind person to you. I have no idea.
She's the one who left.
She may have had good reason. Let me tell you something about most women. And how old is your wife?
42.
Most women, if they have a loving mate, someone who cherishes them and cares for them,
Some of them appreciate it.
I'm speaking, and treat them well, they don't say, I'd rather go it alone. See, sometimes men do. Because, you know, men will turn around and they'll say, well, I can find somebody who's 20. What do I need? This 42-year-old who's raised my 4 children. Now, your wife must not be a bad person because her daughter says, I'm going to let you use this car if Daddy won't give you a car. So evidently, uncross your hands. Your wife may have taken your attitude for 24 years. I don't. What I'm telling you is you had no right to take that car and put it in a place where she couldn't find it. And you didn't do it because you put a mechanic's lien on it. You did it because you were PO'd at your wife. And that you had no right to do. You had no right to exercise dominion and control over a car that did not belong to you. Now, your daughter, as far as I'm concerned, should not have gone to the police, should have tried to settle this matter civilly. But then again, you took your mother's side in this altercation. So, yeah, you felt badly for her.
Somewhat, yes, ma'am.
You felt badly for her. So, in a family situation, should she have gone to the police? Probably not. Did she have a legal right to go to the police because you exercised dominion and control over her car? Absolutely. Don't say no. She did. And what they found when they found you not guilty wasn't because you weren't guilty of exercising control over the car, sir. What they said was, this is really a family matter, and we're not going to find you guilty of a criminal act because what you were really doing was acting vindictive. And we're not going to get involved with that. So, sir, she had the legal right, put your hand down, she had a legal right to call the police to make a police report that she no longer had a car that was titled in her name and that you had.
Even though she had brought the car down there and told me to fix it.
Listen to me, sir. You can't trip over your own words. What you said to me 10 minutes ago was, it was your intention to fix the car. First, you said you were going to make a gift to Kevin when he came back from Afghanistan. Then you changed that and you said, well, I spoke to him and he said to me he would pay me for the parts when he came back from Afghanistan. She never told you she would pay you for anything, unless you're going to change your story again.
Judge,
Right. You have no case, Mr. Tyler. Grow up. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Her mother left after me catching her with another man.
He's been abusive to my mom my whole life.
Didn't only catch her with another man, I caught her 3 days later sitting on a computer in my home talking to another man.
He let that come between a relationship with his daughter and his grandchildren.
I told her to get out of my home because we'd been divorced 4 years ago, and I put her out.
He didn't kick her out. She left in the middle of the night because he wouldn't let her leave on her own.
I've seen their car in the home, and I was there the day that someone tried to break in it.
She said, no, I'm going to get the car, and I'm not paying neither one of you nothing. And she did.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Johnson versus Leffler. Step forward.
Jean Johnson is suing her daughter, 28-year-old Christine Leffler, for 2 unpaid loans. Jean says her daughter is taking advantage of her.
Miss Johnson, this young lady is your daughter.
Yes.
Your complaint alleges 2 loans to your daughter, and she has repaid neither.
Correct.
Your daughter says that her family came on hard times. You were kind enough to offer her some money for housing. She accepted your offer, which was a gift, not a loan.
Yes.
Tell me about the first amount of money that your mother gave you.
My mother had given us $2,000.
When?
April, I believe.
Why?
My husband was the owner-operator of his own business, a trucking company, and we're from Massachusetts. It was very snowy this winter, so his work slowed down quite a bit. And then he had to have major surgery on his colon, and that put him out of work for a couple months. So things were very bad for us, mortgage-wise. So we decided that, it might be better for my husband's business, trucking, to move to Florida. That's always sunny there. You don't have to worry about missed days. So, we found a house and that we liked, and she gave us the money.
I didn't give the money.
Okay, just a second. Wait 1 second. Tell me about the call that you got for the $2,000.
Well, they did have hard times, and she did call me, and she needed some help with the deposit on the house that they were going to get in Florida. I was against it. I didn't want my grandson going all the way to Florida. You're a grandmother.
That's true.
And I told her I would loan her the money, but I needed the money back. It was
When did you expect her, and how did you expect her to pay it back?
Her house was on the market, and she had promised to pay me back after May 26th when she sold her house.
Now, when was the next loan? When was the next amount of money that your mother gave you?
I'm not sure the exact dates, but, we did talk about that, and she knew that we were on hard times. And when we did get an offer on the house, it was less than what we had expected.
Well, how much did you get?
We got about 17 grand. Unfortunately, due to being behind, my husband had to catch up.
So you netted $17,000 in profit?
Yes.
And how much was this second amount of money that your mother gave you, and for what?
She had found us a rental house in Westboro. Every time I would go over to her house, I would get
the first house fell through in Florida.
Well, that was to build for us to own. She had found us a rental house.
Why did it fall through?
The builder had been put to a halt in Florida. He had too many outstanding projects per the person that we were going through.
So you lost the $2,000?
Yes. Yep. So she had found us a house in Westboro. She gave the woman the money to secure it so we'd be in the same town as her. And I knew that she knew that we had no way of paying her back. I couldn't pay my mortgage. How was I going to pay her back all this money? It's ridiculous.
Out of the sale of the house?
Well, that's just the thing, Your Honor. I mean, everybody else that, my husband had his truck that he owned, which was quite a lot of money every month, so we had all these back months that I had to pay. And, we owed money to his parents. I mean, it was just out of control this winter.
How much money did you owe to his parents?
We owed his parents $5,000.
They got their money.
Shh. Did you pay him back?
Yes.
Did your mother know that you had paid back your husband's parents?
Yes.
What does your mom do for a living?
She works in an office.
And your father?
My father's a retired policeman.
So he has a pension?
I believe so.
And your in-laws?
My father's a retired state policeman.
Your father-in-law?
My father-in-law, excuse me, is a retired state policeman.
So he has a pension?
Yes.
And your mother-in-law?
I believe she works at TJ Maxx still.
They have comparable kind of incomes. Why would you choose to pay back your in-laws and not your mother?
Because it's my mother, and because she knew that we were in difficult times. I mean, my husband had to go back and take a job working for somebody again. He had to sell the truck, ultimately, because we couldn't afford to pay for it.
Well,
so now you go from making this much money to making this much money, and all these people that you owed, they really don't care. They want their money either way. So trying to raise an 8-year-old and...
Ms. Leffler, I understand you, and I am compassionate to your position. And to be quite honest with you, unless your parents had their back to the wall and needed this money desperately, I don't think I would have pursued this matter in a court. I'm telling you right now, Ms. Johnson, I would not have done that because I think that your daughter, she strikes me as being a reasonable person. But I think, Mrs. Leffler, that you could have handled it a little more reasonably and said to your husband, listen, we have one pot of money. We have $5,000 that we're able to scrape together to pay back our collective parents. And we can't pay them all back what we should together. So let's work it out and give each set of parents $2,500 and say, you know, we're going to try our best to put some money together so that we will have the respect of both sets of parents, not just one.
Well, I really didn't think that she wanted, I mean, I didn't think it was a loan. I really didn't.
Well, but listen, you can't tell me that the first time you heard about it was when you got served with a small claims summons. This is something that's been going on for a while. And I'm going to suggest to you that your mother might have let this slide for a longer period of time until she found out that you paid back your in-laws $5,000. Because, quite frankly, that would irritate me. You say to me, it's a very interesting thing, you said to me, it's because it's my mother.
Well, can I say that she didn't want the money until she decided she wanted to pay off her second summer car. She's got a nice Saab convertible. Not really something you need to have, but she has it. So, you know, I have to give her this money because she wants to pay her car off.
Just a minute. That's not your determination to make.
But all of a sudden it's...
What do you do for a living?
I work in an office.
Same as your mother? Mm-hmm. And your husband's working now?
Well, he's working for somebody now. He's not making the kind of money he used to.
Well, he's working?
Yes.
And you have one child?
We do.
When did you pay back your in-laws?
When we sold the house.
You owe your mother the money. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,000. That's all.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Ali, it is your claim that you and a boyfriend were at defendant's club and you were, without provocation, assaulted by an employee of his. And the defendant's position is that you were intoxicated and that any injuries that you sustained as a result of your own intoxication. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. When were you at his club?
On May 9th of this year.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
And what do you do?
I go to school and I do customer service.
What school do you go to?
OSU.
What is that?
Ohio State.
You a full-time student?
Part-time.
And you work part-time or full-time?
Part-time.
Who's your boyfriend? Is he here?
He's right there.
How old is he?
He's 22.
Does he go to school also?
Yes.
Now, on the 9th of May, who were you at this club with?
I was with him.
Just
with
the
my
two
boyfriend.
of you?
Just two of us.
Had you been to this club before?
I've been there once before.
What time did you arrive there?
I arrived there about 11:40.
Where had you been before that evening?
Before that evening, I've been to the movies.
With your boyfriend?
Yes.
And from the movies, you went to the club?
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
Okay. At the time when we got there, we were just having fun, just around there. And then it got about 2 o'clock. It was time for everybody to go home. And we were about to leave, and then one of the security guards, he was going to open the back door for us to leave. And all of a sudden, I heard another security guard yelling behind us. He came and he said, "I know you two heard me calling you back there. Why are you ignoring me?" And my boyfriend nicely said that, "I'm sorry we didn't hear you, but we are leaving right now." And then he said, "No, you can't go because I know you were ignoring me and you need to tell me why you were ignoring me." And then he grabbed my arm. And when he grabbed my arm, I yanked my arm off him and told him, "Please don't ever touch me again." And as soon as I said that, he must have got mad, and he grabbed both of us and just pushed us against the wall real hard.
Shh, don't say anything.
When he pushes against the wall real hard, like it hurt my back. And then all of a sudden, it happened so fast that he hit me, and I must have dropped because I don't remember exactly what happened. I heard noises, but I couldn't see. I remember my boyfriend grabbing me. When he grabbed me, we were pushed out from the back door. And then we heard all noises, and I heard my boyfriend call the police and the ambulance for me. And then when the cops arrived, he asked us what happened. And when my boyfriend tried...
Can I see the police report?
Sure.
Is the security guard still in your employ?
No, ma'am, he's not.
What's his name?
I know him as Big Ant.
Big Ant?
Yes.
How long did he work for you?
So, perhaps a year or so.
Well, Mr. Dugan, you pay your employees on the books?
Sometimes.
Did you pay Big Ant on the books or off the books? Look at me.
Yes, ma'am.
On the books or off the books?
He was paid cash at the end of every night. I do not know if he reported it.
Well, I'm just asking you because if you paid him on the books, then you'd have to have a name other than Big Ant.
Yes, ma'am.
You thought this was going to be easy?
No, ma'am.
It's not going to be easy
Yes, ma'am.
because you weren't there that night
No, I wasn't.
and you don't know what happened. Hopefully,
I was home with my pregnant wife, who was 2 weeks away from giving birth, ma'am.
listen, they're good for you.
Thank you.
And I hope everything turned out okay. But right now you have this gentleman who I assume wants to tell me what he saw because he was there that night. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll be up there in a second. I want you to make sure you got it all straight in your head. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any other reports that you have?
No, ma'am. I have some pictures of the incident that
I would like
happened
to
to
see
my
them.
eye.
You were treated at the hospital for
my eye. Mhm.
You had a laceration under your eye. According to the police, somebody socked you in the eye.
Right.
Is that the only injury that you sustained?
Yes.
Tell me your name.
Troy Jones.
On what date did Big Ant terminate your employee?
As of that night, not heard from him since.
When you say as of that night, is that because he didn't return to work on the 10th? Or because you told him not to return to work on the 10th?
He left before the police arrived, or when the police arrived.
And you know that from this gentleman?
He and other employees.
Why did Big Ant take off?
Have no idea, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Jones, how long have you been in Mr. Dugan's employ?
On and off for about 5 years.
In what capacity?
I work with the bands that work there on a particular night, specifically Sunday nights.
What do you mean you work with the bands?
I'm also a member of the band also.
How many hours were you working that night?
I usually arrive at the club early, about 8 o'clock, and then the band usually starts performing anywhere between 10:30 and 11 o'clock at night.
When you're playing with the band, do you have any alcohol?
No, I don't drink at all.
Tell me what you observed on the 9th of May.
At around 2:15, anywhere between 2:15 and 2:30, we asked that security start having people leave the bar because by law, everybody has to be out of the bar by 2:30. Also, what happens is the bar staff will not count any money until all the patrons are out of the bar. Well, they were walking the other direction.
They were walking in what direction?
Toward the side door, which is basically like an emergency exit. Big Ant is telling them, hey, you got to go out. We have to leave now. You have to go this way. Well, he said it 5 or 6 times. By the time he gets up to them, they get together. Some words were exchanged. I don't know exactly what was said, but all I know is I seen a hand come up, which looked like a female hand. He was scratched, and there was a ruckus in between her and her boyfriend and Big Ant. And it wasn't a punch, it was more or less like an open hand smack like that. But he's a big guy, so it may have caused some damage. But it looked like she attacked him first.
Well,
that's a lie.
No, that's
you
not
didn't,
true, Your
but
Honor.
shh, Mr. Jones, you didn't actually see that.
Yes, I did. From where I was standing, what I could see, yeah.
Where you were standing, what you can see. Now, you're equivocating. The one thing you didn't equivocate about was you saw Big Ant hit her. It looked like with an open hand somewhere around her face. That you said you saw.
Yes.
Well, an open hand doesn't cause this kind of damage.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I saw what appeared to be a female hand. Of necessity, it would have to be the plaintiff, unless her boyfriend has feminine hands.
And later today,
Well, when you pulled it off, madam, you scratched the paint.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did!
No, I didn't.
Listen to me. Yes, you did. That's why I'm here and you're there.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sarah Ali says she was punched in the face at Dan Dugan's nightclub. Sarah says the culprit was one of Dan's bouncers.
Okay, let's go back to what you saw at the beginning. You said that you saw what appeared to be a female hand. Is that what you told me?
Yeah, going up like this, coming down at him.
Well, how many females were standing there, Mr. Jones?
It was only one.
So describe what a female hand looks like, Mr. Jones.
Well, I mean, a female hand is not nearly as big as a man's hand in most cases, is what I think. I could be
So
wrong.
there were 3 people there.
Right.
Is that right? Big Ant, this young lady, and her boyfriend.
Right.
So when you say to me, I saw what appeared to be a female hand, of necessity, it would have to be the plaintiff. unless her boyfriend has feminine hands. Is that right, Mr. Jones?
Could be, could not be.
Well, I mean, by a process of elimination, if there are 3 people standing there, unless, according to you, Big Ant scratched himself, sir, it would have to be one of the other 2 people.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
I'm having too much fun. Now, did you wait around for the police to arrive, sir?
Yes, ma'am, I was still there.
Did you observe the ambulance?
I seen the ambulance pull up, yes.
So you knew that the police were treating this as a serious incident?
Yes.
Is that right?
Well, if they were called, yes.
And if they were treating this as a serious incident, clearly they were treating this young lady as the victim.
Right.
And certainly, based upon what you told me, you observed that this young lady was the aggressor in this incident. Is that right?
Yes, they both were.
No, you didn't say both. I said who was the aggressor. Based upon what you told me, she was the aggressor. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And you would want to be a good citizen. You are a good citizen, aren't you, Mr. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor.
Could you explain to me how the police report is silent with regard to your statement to the police that she was the aggressor and scratched him?
No policeman ever came and talked to me.
Well, do you think that the police have some sort of crystal ball? If you have information that this employee of the club that you know for a year was the real victim, and there were a lot of people there, you think it's a good idea to go up to the police and say, listen, I saw the whole thing. She scratched him first. Look at his face. Well, the police report doesn't say anything about Big Ant having any scratches on his face.
Well, he wasn't there to make a report.
Even more of a reason for someone who witnessed the whole process to go up to the police and say, listen, the guy took off, but he was really not responsible. She was responsible. She assaulted him. Isn't that right, Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
Sit down.
Can I make one statement?
Anything else you want to say to me, Mr. Dugan?
I don't think so, Your
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, $3,000. That's all.
All you guys do, you may step out.
Had you contacted me, I would have helped you. I'm really sorry what happened to you. I'm really sorry what happened. Okay. I'm going. Thank you. Thank all of you. Have a good life. She rendered her decision as she saw fit. That's her job.
I think I got what I deserved.
I'm happy with the judgment, but they need some regulations in that club.
As I was leaving, this security guard comes out of nowhere and picks on us for some reason.
They said that a woman was punched by a bouncer when she refused to leave.
I tried calling the club many times.
They want to come and have a nice time and behave themselves and leave when it's time to leave? Great.
I never went back there after that happened, and I don't intend to go back.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Villapudua versus Contreras. Step forward.
22-year-old Lorena Villapudua is suing her boyfriend's ex, 24-year-old Magdalena Contreras, for vandalizing her car. Lorena claims Magdalena ripped off the license plate frame.
According to your complaint, the defendant, Ms. Contreras, is your boyfriend's ex-girlfriend.
Correct.
They also have a child together.
Right.
How old is that child?
He's 6.
Are you pregnant again?
Yes.
Whose baby is that?
My fiance.
You live together?
Yes.
You only have one child?
Little Rudy, and then this one that's coming on the way.
According to your complaint, you and your fiance were at an open school night at Rudy's school.
Right.
The defendant was there with her mother?
Yes.
There was some sort of an argument that took place, and after that, Ms. Contreras vandalized your car.
Yes, because she was upset with him.
Ms. Contreras says she didn't do as much as you said she did, just did a little. Is that your defense?
Yes.
Ms. Contreras, that's almost like being a little bit pregnant. It doesn't happen.
Lorena Villapudua says her boyfriend's ex, Magdalena Contreras, vandalized her car. Magdalena claims Lorena provoked her.
Now, I'm going to go to Ms. Contreras because Ms. Contreras doesn't seem to object and seems to acknowledge the fact that she did put her hands on your car. So I'm going to ask her to tell me why.
Because my ex, Rudy, was supposed to take our son.
Rudy?
Yes. He was supposed to take our son to open house, which he didn't. And
okay. So it was an open school night and Rudy was with his father?
Yes.
For how long?
It's joint custody, so every other week he's with his dad.
So he had him for the week?
Yes.
Okay, so he didn't bring him to open school night?
Yeah, he didn't.
So
So I got upset and I started asking him, why didn't he bring our son? And he said our son would rather be with his grandpa. And I just got upset and I started yelling at him.
In the school?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Because I was upset. I was hurt that he didn't take our son.
Control yourself. You were making a scene in the school?
Yes.
Well, that's stupid.
I know it's stupid.
Didn't your mother tell you to shut up?
Yeah, she did tell me to shut up, but I didn't
Good
listen to
for
her.
you.
No, she didn't.
Good for you.
She did not.
Shh. Am I the kind of person who needs help from you?
No.
So you created a scene in your son's school, which of course left everybody, including the teachers, the administration, the other parents, with the idea that this child comes from a home where they're not going to let their kids go and visit, certainly, because his mother doesn't know how to control herself.
Well, I was very hurt that he didn't take our son. Our son was
Get over it.
all happy that he was going to go.
Get over it. Did the court grant you joint custody?
Yes.
The court granted you joint custody, then the court clearly had to say, I think that both of these parents are responsible enough to take care of this child an equal amount of time, that they're two good parents, and they made a judgment that he was as good a parent as you were. So that if he's with his father and his father decides not to bring him to open school night, that's none of your business. So let's move on from there. So you got angry, making a scene in the school in front of other people. Then what did you do?
We went into the classroom, the teacher started talking to us, and she was showing us...
Were you behaving at this point?
Yeah.
Good. And?
And then I just went to his desk and got his little picture, and then me and my mom took off, and then I seen Lorena's car, and I recognized it, and I just broke off her license plate holder. That's all I did to it. I didn't scratch it or anything else.
Well, tell me exactly the steps that you took. You saw her car while you were driving in your car?
No, I
or
was
were you
walking to my car.
Okay. You were walking to your car, you saw her car.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to bend down. Did you take off the back license plate or the front?
The back, just the holder.
And what did you do with it?
I broke it off, and then I was going to leave it on her window, but I didn't, so I just took off with it.
Can I see photographs of the damage to the car, please?
Yes, you may. I also have a police report.
I'd like to see that, too.
And it has a witness, a 13-year-old girl that was standing out near the car.
Well, when you pulled it off, madam, you scratched the paint.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did!
No, I didn't. I didn't
Listen
scratch
to
her
me.
car.
Listen to me. Yes, you did.
No.
Yes, you did. That's why I'm here and you're there.
I didn't scratch her car.
That's why I'm here and you're there.
Your Honor, I seen it.
Just a second. Say nothing. You still have to share custody of this child, I assume.
Yes.
So, she can get mad at me, I don't care. As a matter of fact, I rather like it. You were driving the white truck?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said to your daughter, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Exactly. What did you say to this idiot when she got back into the car?
I told her that, why did you do that? It was uncalled for.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You have an estimate?
I do.
I didn't scratch her car when I broke that off. There's no way that I scratched her car.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Go ahead.
The license plate frame is screwed on.
I know what she did. She pulled it off. She went like this in order to get it off, and in doing so, she scratched the car with the license plate. That's what she did. And she keeps saying, I just took off the frame. When you went over to take off the frame, genius, did you have with you a pliers?
No.
You had your hands?
Yes.
So you had to pull it.
Mm-hmm.
It was screwed on. When you pulled it, in order to get it off, and you were jiggling it, you scratched around the car. Do you get it?
I didn't scratch your car.
Oh, what an idiot. What an idiot. Listen, do me a favor. You know, she's pregnant now. When she's finished, discuss birth control with her. It's really a shame that we're continuing this. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $618. That's all.
Party, Judge. All right. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
What's your name?
Rianne Curry.
Rianne?
Yes.
You already pled guilty in this assault, is that right?
Yes.
Did you think you were coming to a dance today or something?
No.
Miss Powell, according to your complaint, this young lady assaulted you. And according to your complaint, she pled guilty to the assault, which she clearly says she did. But you said you claim that she was assisted in that assault by this young lady.
That's correct.
Who held you down, held your hair, and you, while she assaulted you.
That's right.
What's your first name?
Liz.
What?
Liz.
Why did your friend assault her?
It was over an ex-boyfriend.
What's the ex-boyfriend's name?
Greg.
How long ago was Rianne with Greg?
About a year ago.
Was Miss Powell ever with Greg?
I don't think she was. I think she just had slept with him.
Is that what she was annoyed at?
Yeah.
So Rianne was angry because she thought, right or wrong, that Miss Powell had been involved with her ex-boyfriend.
Well, her ex-boyfriend had told her that he had slept with her.
During the time that they were still together?
Yes.
Could you do me, you're her mother?
I sure am.
Good. Why don't you sit down? Because you're just here because you have the deep pockets. Step up here, Rianne. Now, when Greg told you about this assignation, did you beat him up?
No.
Did you punch him in the face?
No.
Did you kick him in the groin?
No.
Why not? Did you think that Miss Powell held him down?
No.
So why did you get angry with her?
Because we were acquaintances at the time, and...
So you think that because you were an acquaintance of Miss Powell, she owed you more loyalty than the boyfriend that you had with whom you were sleeping?
No, but...
I'm just trying to get the rationale. You got a boyfriend with whom you are intimate. And how long had Greg been your boyfriend?
A few months.
And you are crazy about him, right?
Not totally.
Well, I assume that if you were intimate with him, that you had some feelings for him. Is that right?
Yes.
And your boyfriend with whom you have been intimate says to you, when you weren't around, I slept with Miss Powell. Yeah, you start to cry, right? You got upset?
A little bit.
Did you yell at him?
Yes.
What did you say?
Many things. It was a year ago.
When did you assault Miss Powell?
October of last year.
And when did your boyfriend tell you that he had been intimate with Miss Powell?
September of last year.
Now, between September and October, had you seen Miss Powell?
Not really, no.
So the first time you saw her is when the assault took place, is that right?
Yes.
And where was that?
At Pool Hall.
And Liz was with you?
She wasn't there in the beginning, but she came around, yeah.
And she's a friend of yours?
Yes.
Had you told her about Greg's confession?
Yes.
You see how it all fits in? You want to know why? Because it's common sense. That's why it all fits in. Tell me what happened when you saw her.
I had seen her and...
No, look at me. Don't look at the floor. Sorry. Don't look at the water. Look at me.
I had seen her in the pool hall with him, and I got...
With Greg?
Yes.
Oh, she was with Greg in October. Is that right, Miss Powell?
We were friends, and at the time, she was dating his brother, who's Matt.
Okay. But you were with Greg, and you were no longer with Greg.
No.
So you saw her, and she was with Greg. And what did you say to her?
At first, I didn't say anything to her, and then when she had come outside, I had confronted her.
What did you say to her?
I asked her what the problem was, and that's when...
Well, I didn't hear about any problem. What do you mean, what the
She
problem
disrespected
was?
me. That's
How did she disrespect you?
By sleeping with my boyfriend.
Disrespected you?
Yes.
Your boyfriend disrespected you?
Yeah, that too.
Okay. And what did she say to you?
She said, what are you talking about? And I basically said, you know, well, what I'm talking about. And that's when a fight broke out.
No, that's just words that I hear so far.
Mm-hmm.
After you said, I don't know what you're talking about, what happened, Miss Powell?
On that note, I did not say anything before it happened. There were no words said besides some name calling from her to me before she hit me.
Where did she hit you?
In the face.
With what?
With her fists.
And where was Liz at the time?
Liz was standing behind her, about 5 feet behind her.
No. Anybody else with them?
Greg was walking with me outside, and Matt was outside, who at the time
Matt was
Rianne's boyfriend.
And then what happened?
She started hitting me, and she's saying, "Come on, Sherry, hit me, hit me." And at the time, it happened so fast that I barely knew who it was. I had no idea what she was doing or why she was doing it. And she went savage.
Okay, she's already acknowledged to the police and to the courts that she assaulted you. What I want to know is what Liz's participation was, if any.
There were some words said.
By whom?
I said, "What the Rianne?" Like, I was totally confused. She said, "What the Sherry?" And then she was hitting me and scratching me and pulling me by my hair. I had turned her around because before I was up against a concrete wall, and she was pulling my hair and hitting me, hitting my head off the wall. So I turned her around to get away from the wall. And as I turned her around, I took control of her. And then Liz came in because she knew that I had some control. And she started pulling my hair.
From behind?
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then Greg said, she's Matt's brother, Rianne's ex-boyfriend, said, "You have nothing to do with this, Lise, get away." And from what I understood, Greg had taken her away, but I think that she had backed away.
You mean Lise?
Yes.
Okay. How long did she hold your hair?
Maybe about 10 seconds, not even.
While she was holding your hair, what was Rianne doing?
She was hitting me and scratching me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Sherry had Rianne by the throat and had her fist out like that.
Sounds right to me. She started it.
Yeah. What else would I do? Just sit there and be like, oh, you can go and hit my girlfriend?
Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
18-year-old Sherry Powell says her former friend, 17-year-old Lee Schwannard, owes for an assault. Lee says she was trying to break up a fight between Sherry and her friend.
Okay. Now I'll hear you.
When they were fighting, I was in the car with my two friends. Rianne had been taking a little while, so I went to see where she was in the pool hall, but they had been outside. And I came in, and Sherry had Rianne by the throat against a brick wall, and my first intention was to pull her off of her. Like, this girl's way bigger than my girlfriend, so I was like, Kate, no, this is retarded. So I pulled her off there, and then that's when Greg told me, back off these, and I was like, Kate, yeah. And I stood there, and they finished their fight, and then we left.
Why did you put your hands on her?
To pull her off my girlfriend.
You have no right to do that.
Well, if you, like...
You have no right to do that.
Yeah, but she was sitting there hurting.
Listen to me. I don't believe that you weren't there and didn't see how it started. Don't believe your cookie. Don't believe your cookie. You knew exactly what was going on because she's your friend, and you knew she was angry at her.
But I wasn't even there when it started.
Don't believe you, my dear. Don't believe you. It's just too coincidental that at a time when she seemed to be getting the upper hand, you stepped in. Just too coincidental to me.
I stepped in for 2 seconds to get her off Rianne. That's what I did.
When you got her off Rianne, did Rianne continue to assault her?
Rianne wasn't even hitting her when I pulled her off. Sherry had Rianne by the throat and had her fist out like that.
Sounds right to me. Sounds perfect to me. She started it. She hit her first. She confronted her first. She assaulted her first.
Yeah. So that's what happened. That's what happened. I'm not saying that's not what happened, but I pulled her off my friend. I walk in and she's got my friend by the throat. My immediate reaction is to do that. Like, what else would I do? Just sit there and be like, oh, you can go and hit my girlfriend?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Because then you wouldn't be standing where you are. If I believed you, which I don't, because I find that somebody who can't even figure out that their shirt is supposed to meet their pants when they come to court is not going to tell me the truth.
I'm not going to tell you. Why would I stand up here and lie?
Why?
Yeah, exactly. I have no reason to sit here and lie.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, I don't. I have no reason. No. I don't even talk to her no more. This has been a year ago.
Let me explain to you why you do. Because she's suing your mother. Because your mother is responsible for you. She's suing your mother for $5,000 because you permitted, at least for a period of time, your friend, who also doesn't know how to dress when she comes to court, to assault her by holding her hair and allowing her to be hit. You did that.
But that didn't even happen.
You have a police report, please?
No, they would not release it to me.
Do you have a hospital record?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please?
I have a picture, too.
Okay.
I have a police statement. Would you also like to see that?
Mm-hmm.
And I have an apology letter from Rianne.
Do you have a separate lawsuit against Rianne?
I haven't sued her. I do intend on suing her in higher courts. So far, she had just pleaded guilty in Canada.
When?
For assault. On October 8th this year.
Okay. Step up, please. What's your name?
Matt Duke.
You were there that evening in October, sir?
Yeah.
Tell me what you observed with regard to this young lady holding the plaintiff.
She was in the car when Rianne was starting all this stuff, and then when she came out, she didn't know what was going on. I just seen her run past and try to go and help out her friend like anybody else would. And my brother pulled her off before she could get involved, so it wouldn't be a 2-on-1 or anything like that. And in the meanwhile, I told Rianne, that's enough. No more fighting. That's when the fight stopped.
Sit down, genius. did you plead guilty to, Rianne?
Assault into Sherry.
Were you sentenced yet?
What I have here is my 12-month conditional discharge.
Can I see it,
is what
please?
they gave me.
Can I see it, please? She wrote you a letter of apology because she was directed by the court to do it.
She wasn't directed. No, I offered.
Who just said that to me? Which one of you two geniuses said I wasn't directed, she offered it? Who said that?
I did.
Okay. This assault happened in October of 2003, is that right?
Yes.
If your friend was truly sorry for what she had done, the letter of apology would have come not a year later, but the next week. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. The letter of apology, which was directed by the court. It's here in the order. This is the dumbest bird. You just have to listen to this. That a court accepted as an apology letter.
18-year-old Sherry Powell says her former friend, 17-year-old Lee Schwannard, owes for an assault. Lee says she was trying to break up a fight between Sherry and her friend.
I didn't have to write this letter of apology. I chose to. What happened between you and me was a huge waste of my time. But I'd like you to know that you should be apologizing too because of what you did to me. I have to let it go because I've realized a lot about both of you. I know how hurt and angry you'd be if another female stabbed you in the back like that. The both of you are in my past, and I've moved on to better things. So, on my behalf, I apologize for doing what I did to you.
Touching.
Touching, and
Very
the
touching.
future of our country. Future of our
Or
country.
theirs.
Or theirs. Oh, Canada? Oh.
Can I make a note on that
Listen!
letter?
You have no right to put your hands on another person. She has no right to put her hands on another person. If your boyfriend disrespects you by fooling around, you do what's necessary to him. You can move out of the apartment, kick him out of the apartment. You can break off all contact. You can yell and scream. But as long as there is no allegation that someone held him down and forced him to submission,
No.
It's his fault.
She had a part. It takes two to have sex. Like,
she's not your boyfriend.
No, she's not.
She's not your boyfriend. She wasn't even your friend. According to you, you knew her. She owes you no allegiance. You weren't married. You weren't engaged. You had a boyfriend for a couple of months. What do you do? I mean, do you work? Do you go to school? Do you do anything?
Not right now, no.
You don't do anything?
No.
You better find something to occupy your time. Judgment for the... What?
She's also pregnant with his kid.
Oh. How
has nothing to do with
how
this,
fortunate
Sherry,
for the
so why
people
bring
of
that up?
Canada. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Sherry's a fat cow who shouldn't even be getting anything.
She took her frustrations out on me.
She was attacking my friend, and she's 10 times the size of my friend.
I had taken control because I knew that this girl was crazy.
I got over-tempered.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
She's mentally freaking touched in the head.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Garrett versus Cook. Step forward, please.
Hotel clerk Alan Garrett is suing the mother of his child, 27-year-old student Candace Cook, for the unpaid balance on a Toyota Supra. Candace says shortly after taking ownership, the engine died.
Mr. Garrett, the defendant is your former girlfriend and you have a child together. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, but we had a relationship, yes.
Well, you weren't her math teacher, right?
No, ma'am.
You weren't her plumber, right?
No, ma'am.
In a classic sense. You had a relationship. She was a girlfriend or something.
Yes, ma'am.
You had a child together.
Yes, ma'am.
You have custody of that child.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've always had custody of that child.
Yes, ma'am.
How old is the child?
A year and a half.
Boy or a girl?
Boy.
According to your complaint, you sold Miss Cook a car.
Correct.
Back in March. It was an old car, a car that you were not using. You sold her the car for $600.
Correct.
And she acknowledges that that's what happened, correct?
Yes, they gave me a car. Well, I mean, he didn't give it to me, but it was agreed to pay for it eventually.
You don't have any other children, do you?
I have an older child, yes.
Where is that child?
With my mother.
How old is that child?
9.
What do you do?
I'm a student at this time. I'm just now getting back to school and trying to get things together.
Where are you a student?
I'm at the Richland Community College.
Anyway, in March you sold her the car for how much, sir?
$600.
And according to what I read in your complaint, you did that because she wasn't visiting your son regularly and you really wanted her to be able to visit him.
Correct.
She had the car from March, is that right? Until September, is that right?
Yes, around that
I mean, are you together? Is there something wrong?
We're not. No, I'm just... He said it wasn't for visit. It was because he said he wanted me to get a job and everything else.
A job would be nice here.
And so, you know,
job would be nice. What do you do? You have 2 children. Somebody else takes care of both of your children. You should be working. Who is this?
This is my roommate.
This is your roommate. Do you work?
Yes, I do.
Good. What kind of a job do you have?
I'm a computer technician.
What are your hours of work?
It's usually afternoon 1 to 10 p.m.
That's a full day. Do you have, I'm speaking, do you have children?
No, I do not.
So you support yourself?
Yes.
That's what people do when they have themselves to take care of, or in your roommate's case, when she has 2 children that are being supported by other people. They get a job. Now you can sit down. Perfect. Now, she ran the car and had the car in her possession until September, when, according to you, what happened to the car?
The engine blew, so I parked it. And then I called him and said, it's calling. I'm going to call a junkyard. And then once I get that money, I'll give you the money that I get from the junkyard. Well, I get a call from some guy I don't even know, never met, never anything, saying he's going to come get the car that Alan told him to come and get it. So that's where it turns up. I gave the car to somebody else. I don't even have
somebody
it.
to pick up the car?
A friend of mine that I had originally got the car from expressed interest in it. I told him the story about what had happened to it. For whatever reason, he was interested in the car. I said, well, if you want to talk to her about it, I'll give you her phone number, and I passed that information along so he could call her.
But he didn't give you the car. Did he give you any money for the car?
No, ma'am.
No. So you're at your $600, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good. Judgment for the plaintiff.
This is Judy.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Roth, it is your claim that you were at a party, the defendant was at a party, he moved your car, he did so without asking you, and he dented it. The defendant says that it was you who were drunk, moved your own car, and dented it yourself. That's your defense, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was this party at your house?
Yes, it was, ma'am.
How many people did you have at the party?
20, 25.
How old are you?
I'm 20, going on 22, 21 right now.
Well, hopefully if I let you, you'll be 22. Right now you're 21. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you live with?
I live with my witness here and another person.
So you have 2 roommates?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm in construction.
What night of the week was this?
July 9th. I think it was a Friday night or, yeah, Friday night.
Okay. And did you know Miss Roth for your party?
Yes, I did.
All right, Miss Roth, were you present when the defendant got into your car?
No, I was not. I was inside.
Who was?
My witness, Tita, was in the car.
Tell me your name.
Tita Chewin.
Miss Chewin, did you know the defendant prior to this evening?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was there drinking at the party?
Yes.
Any drugs at the party?
No.
None that you saw?
Not that I saw.
But drinking?
Yes.
All right, tell me what happened with the car.
We went outside to...
Who's we?
The 3 of us. We went outside to grab CDs, and it was a summer night, so we had tank tops on and skirts, and we wanted to grab shirts to put over. So we went out to the car, she grabbed her CDs, I grabbed my shirt, I put it on, she went back inside the house, and she left the keys for me. So I was in the passenger seat getting ready to leave, and he claims the truck in front of him needed to be moved, so he hopped in, and I told him, Monica...
Okay, he said that the car that you were in had to be moved?
Yes.
Okay.
The car was on accessories, but the engine wasn't on. He started it and...
Don't speak!
He started it and slammed on the gas without even looking behind him. And before he started the car, I told him, Monica would not want you driving her car. It's brand new. She doesn't even let us drive her car. I've known her since elementary school. We're really close. And he just slammed on the gas without even looking behind him, and I told him, don't you want to look behind you? And next thing I know, there was a big crash, and he jumps out of the car.
Did he say anything to you?
No, he just jumped out.
Did he put the car in park and jump out? Did he turn it off?
He pulled it up really quick so she wouldn't know, and then jumped out of the car.
So first he went backwards.
Yep, and then he pulled it up.
So he changed gears?
Yes.
I just want to go step by step with me. So let's go step by step. First, it was in reverse.
Yep, and he slammed on the gas, hit the car, was like startled, and then he pulled it up back to where she had been parked, so it looked like her car wasn't moved, and hopped out of the car really quick.
And didn't say anything to you?
No.
So what did you do?
I was in shock, and then she came in, ran up to the window because she was across the street.
Tell me your name.
Keely Hartman.
Ms. Hartman, did you witness this?
I just heard a crash. I didn't see it actually happen.
But you heard the sound?
I heard the sound.
Did you see the defendant?
I saw someone running away from the car, and that's when I ran over immediately because I saw it was Monica's car.
But you didn't see who it was?
I didn't.
Didn't see a face, or you didn't see whether it was a man, woman?
I saw a shadow running from the car.
Okay. Did the defendant say anything to you when you went back inside?
I peeked inside the window of the driver's side door, and I saw her in the passenger seat, and I looked and I saw nobody in the driver's seat, and I go, where's Monica? And Tita said she's in the house. That's when I looked over and I saw Justin crouching over by the bumper, and he said to me, don't tell her it's not a big deal, it's not even noticeable. And that's when I ran inside and grabbed Monica.
Okay, so he said to you, don't tell her it's not a big deal, it's not even noticeable.
Yes.
How long have you known the defendant?
A couple years.
Have had any problem with him?
No.
You like him?
Do I like him?
Yeah, I mean, like him as a person. He's okay, isn't he?
Yeah.
What about you?
Before this incident, I thought he was great.
Thought he was great. Never had any problem with him. Thank you. You can be seated.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's your turn. Did you get a turn?
All those girls are lying.
Stop! Listen to me. Listen to me very, very carefully, sir. I make a judgment as to who's lying.
Okay.
You have the opportunity, if you wish, to explain to me your version of the events that evening.
Okay.
I assume you brought this gentleman because he has something to contribute to this case.
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Your name is?
James.
James, you have a last name.
Johnson.
How old are you?
22.
Do you have parents?
Yes.
Do they like you?
Sometimes.
I want you to think about them when making a decision to testify, James.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Okay. Let me hear.
Okay, in my defense. July 9th, we were having a party at my house. These girls showed up to my house intoxicated, had parked her car behind a truck of my friend's, asked her to move it. She moved it, backed into the car that was behind her, which was the black one.
And you saw all this?
Yeah, I was out in the street telling everybody was about ready to leave. The whole part, you know,
And
it was
you
like,
saw all of this?
yeah, I saw the whole thing.
Go ahead.
I was in the street talking to a bunch of friends, and you know, that happened, that transpired. And then she decided to leave belligerently, circle the block, and then come back, screaming, raving, whatever. She was intoxicated and all that stuff.
So you had a party at your house. Did you serve alcohol?
No,
or did the
not to
people
them.
bring out? Shh. Did you serve alcohol or did the people bring alcohol?
They brought their own.
You just provided the site.
Yes, I just presided the area for people to party. But everybody at my house was 21 minus these 3 girls.
You mean I just happened to be fortunate enough to pick the 3 girls who were underage at your house?
Yes, ma'am. But they were intoxicated before they showed up to my house.
You want to speak?
Sure.
Who do you live with?
Justin, Judy, and another roommate.
So you lived together. And how long have you lived together?
For about a year and a half.
You know these 3 girls?
I know them from being at my house that night. I'd never even known them before.
What time did the party start?
Between 9 and 10 o'clock.
When did you start drinking?
Between 9 and 10 o'clock.
What were you drinking?
Beer.
What time did these girls arrive?
I'm not totally sure on that. I actually did not see them arrive. I didn't see them arrive. I didn't know they were there until well after they were there.
And what time was that?
Between 10 and 11 o'clock.
So the party was only going on for an hour?
Possibly.
What do you mean possibly?
I'm not sure. It was.
How many beers did you have between 9 and 10 o'clock?
Couple.
Couple could be 2 or 5.
Between 2 and 5.
What kind of work do you do?
Construction.
You work for the same place?
No. I install windows in residential housing. He seals driveways.
Seals them. Doesn't steal them. He seals them.
Yes.
So now, I want you to tell me what you saw.
Okay, I was...
No!
Sorry. I was at the party, and I was walking out.
What time?
It was late. I don't know.
Give me an idea.
Probably between 12 and 1.
Okay, so between 12 and 1. So let's say between 9 and 10 you had between 2 and 5 beers.
Yes.
And I would assume that once you had between 2 and 5, you lost track.
Nah, I didn't finish my 12-pack.
How much was left over?
2 or 3.
So maybe you had 10 beers.
Yeah, probably.
So now tell me what happened after midnight.
Well, after I came outside, I had seen Monica get in the car, back up, and bump into the other car. And it wasn't that big of an accident, so nobody really made a big deal out of it. And I seen her get out of the car, have a little conversation with him, and then I seen her get back in the car and drive away. It didn't happen all that quick, but that's the sum of it. Yes.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
Don't you feel like a jerk?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have phone calls from Justin saying he will pay me.
Before you do that, before we connect, you want to say anything else to me, Justin?
And later today,
When did you take this money?
A couple weeks before I was leaving for Florida.
I don't know when you were leaving for Florida, sir. It wasn't on my social calendar. What's the matter? They're too nasty for you?
No, that was delightful.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Monica Roth says former friend Justin Judy backed her car into another vehicle. Justin claims it was a drunken Monica who was behind the wheel.
Let me see the estimate on the car, please. A picture of the car?
Yep.
What kind of a car did he hit?
Cougar. It was a black car, that's all.
Cougar?
I'm pretty sure it was a Mercury Cougar.
You know who it belonged to?
It was this kid, Jeremy. And he didn't even tell him that he hit his car.
But did you tell him?
He came out, and I think Keely or someone told him. I wasn't.
Who told the Cougar that his car got hit? Anybody?
I didn't. Well,
Nobody told me.
I don't think I didn't tell him. He heard from the people inside that someone's car had been hit, so he ran outside and saw that it was his car and was furious with Justin.
Is the Cougar man a friend of yours?
Yes, he's a very good friend of mine, actually.
How come he's not here?
How
come he's not here?
working.
Is he overseas? Is he fighting in the military?
No. He couldn't
Huh?
make it.
Couldn't make it.
No.
Too bad for you. He's a very good friend of yours. Seemed to me a very good friend. Instead of bringing this one over here, I certainly would have brought the person whose car... I'm speaking. I would have brought the person whose car was hit to testify that they know that it wasn't you who hit their car, it was somebody else who hit their car. Put your hand down.
He's the only one that saw it, though. The guy who owned the car did
You
not see
see how
anything.
many witnesses they have here, too? You see what you have on your side? Stop shaking your foot. It's making me nervous.
The guy whose car that she hit was not around and did not see it, did not know it happened until later in the night.
Your Honor, I have phone calls from Justin saying he will pay me the money and that he's so sorry that he did it, and he is doing everything he can to get me my money, and he just wants to pay cash and he doesn't want to go to court.
You have him here?
Yes, I have.
Oh, I'd like to
I can
hear
call
that.
my voicemail.
Oh,
Should I go
sure, I'd
up
like
there?
to hear that.
Yeah, please. It's her phone. She's gonna. There's two of them.
Ooh, I love to be right.
You've pressed an incorrect key. To disconnect, press 1. To record your message, press 2. Sorry you were having trouble. Please try again.
It's okay.
Can I try one more time?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
I have all the time in the world.
Sorry.
Oh, just a sec. Before you do that, before you do that, before we connect, you want to say anything else to me, Justin?
Like what?
Like I may have made that
I did that
phone
to
call?
help her out because it was
I'm
on my
speaking.
property.
I'm speaking. Is there anything else that you want to say to me before we try to connect with this phone call?
I've said what I've had to say.
All right.
You've got my defense statement, so I'm sticking with that. That's what it is.
Go.
First saved message sent Friday, August 20 a.m.
Monica, it's Justin. I got your text message. I'm not trying to avoid you. I've been busy working a lot. We're really busy right now. Plus, I have another job. I'm trying to work as much as possible to get you your money. I do want to work something out. I don't want to take this shit to court. I'm not trying to avoid you. So, I don't know. I got to work till midnight tonight. Give me a call whenever.
And
I have one more.
Resave. Next message sent Friday, August 5th at 9:11 p.m.
Monica, I'm calling you again because I'm trying to set up some sort of payment plan with you because I've been working a lot. I have 2 jobs. Yeah, so call me back and let me know what's up. I don't want to take the court. I'd rather pay you in cash and get it dealt with. Call me back.
End.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $967.53. That is for the repair on the car, damage to the vehicle. If I could add another couple of thousand to that for just being 2 wise guys, I would. You're an embarrassment, and you're an embarrassment to yourself and your parents. That's all.
That is that excuse. You may step out.
Wow. They were drunk. I mean, drunk girls is what it was, man. It's how they were.
He called us and said he had liquor for us at his house.
I never thought it would come to this, but whatever.
I can't believe he lied.
I'm an embarrassment.
I thought he was a friend, but I really know who my true friends are.
86 for life, meaning they're not allowed to ever step foot anywhere near my house again.
I'm so glad he won't let us back at his house because I would never step foot there again.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Rivera versus Sipe. Step forward, please.
22-year-old Crystal Rivera is suing her ex-boyfriend, Robert Sipe, for a loan to travel to Florida. Robert says he wanted to help with the hurricane relief.
Miss Rivera, you're a student?
Yes, ma'am.
How old
Actually,
are you?
I just graduated.
You just graduated from college?
Yes.
How old are you?
22.
Mr. Sipe, what about you?
Oh, I'm a salesman.
How did you meet him?
I actually met him on my 21st birthday party.
Somebody brought him?
Yes.
And according to you, you started to date Mr. Sipe
Yes, ma'am.
and loaned him $1,250. At some point, he did pay you back $400, leaving a balance of $850. Mr. Sipe says, while he acknowledges that you gave him $1,250, he says that's exactly what it was. It was a gift, and he only gave you $400 because he wanted to help you out, right?
Correct.
Well, since we're getting rid of the issue of whether or not the money was passed from Miss Rivera's hands to yours, why don't you tell me, Mr. Sipe, when did you take this money from Miss Rivera?
A couple weeks before I was leaving for Florida.
When was that? I don't know when you were leaving for Florida, sir. It wasn't on my social calendar.
I understand that. I completely understand that. In August, early September.
What's the matter? That too nasty for you?
No. That was delightful.
Go ahead.
Yeah, she offered me, well, she claimed that she offered me $850.
Listen to me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you live?
In Arkansas.
And what were you going to Florida for?
To clean up the hurricanes, relief.
You were going to volunteer?
No, I had a contractor. I was trying to get down there.
So you had a job there?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Well, in the process.
And what did you need money for?
Travel expenses, hotel expenses, food expenses, etc.
Well, I thought you had a job.
At that point, no, I didn't.
Well, neither did she. She was a student.
That was a gift that she gave me. I don't know her business.
How long did you know her before you asked her for this money?
Maybe a week.
Shh, shh, shh.
She offered it to me.
What did you tell her to inspire her to offer you this money, Mr. Sipe?
I was just telling her my story that I needed to get down there, and she offered it to me. I wasn't inspiring her, nothing.
You must have been inspirational.
I don't know what it was. She offered it to me, and I said thank you.
Well, Mr. Sipe, let me suggest this to you, sir. You are almost 10 years her senior. She's a student. You're an adult. You're supposed to be employed. You take money from a student who has no money, because according to her, this was money that her parents had given her for books. She went and sold her books in order to give you this money because she had to get. I'm speaking. Listen to me. I'm speaking. When my mouth moves, yours doesn't.
Yes, ma'am.
So that would suggest to me that something is off with your moral compass. Taking money from somebody that you met for a week, knowing that she doesn't have a lot of money. I'm speaking.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm telling you, that would suggest to a stranger that you're a taker. That's a given. You're a taker. If she, in fact, offered you this money and just said, I want you to take it, it's a gift. So now I want you to tell me, what epiphany did you have at some point? What finding of religion did you have that inspired you to give her $400?
Good deed.
He's cute.
It's the truth,
He's
though,
cute.
ma'am.
He's cute.
It is the truth.
To somebody, but not to me, Mr. Sipe.
That's fine, but it is
not
the truth.
to me, sir.
It is the truth, though.
Let us say that I believe you for a moment, that she was smitten with you, because that would be the only reason she would give you money. If she wasn't romantically interested in you, she wouldn't have given you the money, right?
Well, I wanted to help the people in the hurricane.
You wanted to help the people in the hurricane?
Well,
she's also mentally challenged. I mean, I can understand helping the people in the hurricane. Send them $1,250. Don't give it to him.
Right.
He didn't even end up going.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
Take your money and send it to the Red Cross.
I've actually started a nonprofit corporation to help the people from
Well,
the
that's
previous
fine.
hurricane.
He's not a nonprofit organization. Nowhere to send your money. In what month did you give her $400?
I would say in October, November.
Had she called you and asked you for the money?
No, ma'am. I just offered it to her.
A good deed.
A very good deed. Yes, it is.
We're going to have another good deed.
And then
Judgment for the
week-
plaintiff in the amount of $850. That's all.